We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 125. Today we're going to talk about our pick of the week, NFL tomorrow, my weekend poker, the war in Israel, and the kickoff of the NBA season. The Mouthpiece is next. Welcome, Saturday night edition, Mouthpiece. How's it going, everybody? Been a long day for me. Had a procedure done on Thursday to try and help with the pain in my knee and my leg. And unfortunately, my legs have been burning for the last 2 days, and I've struggled to get out of bed. The pain in my knee, which was literally basically what the procedure, what was done for, I seem to have gotten a little bit of help from it. But the nerves are burning in my legs, and so I have been dealing with a lot of pain. So that's why we were supposed to podcast Friday. We didn't, then we were supposed to do today at 4, and I couldn't get out of bed. And so now I am up and about. Interesting. We are now 6-1 on our pick of the weeks in the NFL, even though we went 1-9 last week. That's right, 1-9. But we won our pick of the week, and we won it easily. As I said, and I tell you guys all the time, do not follow me in sports, but I'm actually pretty smart when it comes to picking 1 or 2 games, and kind of where we're at. And so we'll go over our pick of the week, and I got a lot of confidence in this pick of the week, actually. And I don't really have, and I'll tell you what I played at Circa this week also. And the 5 games that I picked. Last week, I kind of really did a lot of long dive, deep diving, and somehow found all the losers. And I had 10 points last week. This week, my 10-pointer actually, which would have been my pick of the week, but I never put my pick of the week out on Thursday, was the Bills, laying 8.5. And anybody who watched that game knows that the Bills absolutely murdered Tampa Bay, and somehow they were a failed Hail Mary away from losing the game. I don't know how that even happened. So I had the right side there with the wrong results, and so I will not be winning my 10-pointer this week. But maybe we go 9-1 this week and turn it around. Who knows? I hear a lot of people talking about this fight that they gave the decision to Fury, and you watched it? Yeah. I heard it was an absolute beatdown by the other guy.
Well, not an absolute beatdown. Fury did pretty well, but
I don't know. Everybody I saw, LeBron James even texted out that it was a complete disgrace.
Yeah. He knocked him down, dude.
Dude, I heard he kicked the shit out of him, and they gave the decision to whatever. Okay, so let's talk about the World Series of baseball. A week ago, we were on the show, and we were talking about a repeat of Philadelphia and the Astros. Both were 3-2 heading home, and there hadn't been a repeat World Series since 77-78 when I went there when I was 9 and 10 years old, Dodgers and Yankees. And somehow, because I had bet $5,000 on Philly to win the National League, those 2 teams became the first 2 teams in the history of Major League Baseball to have a 3-2 lead going back home with a chance to go to the World Series, and both teams losing. Why? Because I bet on Philly. So, what do? I come back again and go against Arizona, and I bet on Texas to win the World Series. It is 1 game apiece, but in all reality, it should be 2-0 in favor of Arizona. And it looks like I have the wrong side here. Wow. I mean, I just can't believe that this Arizona Diamondback team that has the youngest roster in the major league and the lowest payroll at $34 million is going to win a World Series over a $255 million team. It'd be good for baseball, bad for me. These two teams lost 100 games each 2 years ago. But the only difference is Texas went out and spent a fortune to make their team better. And Arizona has got all young rookies and 23-year-old teams. So through 2 games, we've had 2 exciting games. I think Bruce Bochy really blew it by bringing Montgomery out for the 7th in a 2-1 game. He didn't have his best stuff. He got him through 6. The bullpen collapsed anyways. It would have made no difference. So that was an interesting game tonight. I woke up early. I was scheduled to go to the Republican Jewish Coalition big event at the Venetian. My friend Matt Brooks is head of the Republican Jewish Coalition. And with the war going on in Israel, it was very important to be there. Trump was speaking at noon. And if you wanted to get to the early evening, you had to be there at 8 a.m. for Secret Service to go through all the customs and stuff, or to make sure everybody's checked out. And I could not find myself getting up at 8 a.m. since I went to bed at 7 a.m. because I played poker all night, and we'll get to that in a minute. And so I did wake up because I wanted to hear Trump's speech, which I heard on Right Side Broadcasting. And to me, his speech was absolutely horrific. Why was it horrific? Because he talked about backing Israel, which is great. He talked about being the strongest president ever towards Israel, which is great. And then he talked about himself. And he talked about the stolen election. And he talked about when he's back in the White House. And he talked about, if you listen to Vivek Ramaswamy's speech tonight at the Republican Jewish Coalition, and you listen to Trump's speech, and I advise everybody that is interested in this to go look, and you even listen to DeSantis' speech, you tell me who you want to vote for in the GOP if you're voting for the GOP, because it's not close. Trump looks like a beaten old man that he always speaks for an hour and 15 minutes. Every year at the RJC, he speaks for an hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, 30 minutes. He's never once in any of his rallies, anywhere, spoke for 30 minutes. He spoke for 30 minutes. And this is a man who 3 weeks ago, when Israel was attacked, blamed Netanyahu because, I think I told you this last week on the show, he didn't like when Netanyahu congratulated Joe Biden when he won the presidency, and he didn't stand behind Trump. He's a baby. He's a narcissist. He's a pig. And I don't care if you liked his policies or not, okay? If we, on the GOP side, elect Donald Trump to be our nominee, a decrepit old dementia patient named Joe Biden will beat him again, and it won't be close, and we will get what we deserve, and that's it. And as you can see, the radical left hates Israel. They hate everybody. The marching in London today by millions and millions and millions of people anti-Israel, kill the Jews, kill their mothers, rape their daughters. We are living in a modern day anti-Semitic society. You guys, people all talked about hate and they blame Trump and Trump's bringing on white supremacy and hate. Now you see what real hate is. I told you all the left hates everyone. The far left, not my friends, Democratic left. Pretty gross. And, you know, it's so gross. I can't even describe to you how gross it is. Yeah, so Elon Musk came out saying he was going to connect Starlink for Gaza. He walked that back 5 hours ago and said he will only connect Starlink for humanitarian issues and with the consent of the Israeli government of what they want them to connect. So he walked that back. And Elon Musk is very pro-Israel. So it doesn't shock me that he walked that back. But it was a lot of bullshit when it came out. I guess I was reading about this. Anyways, it is what it is. Yeah, Elon's destroyed Twitter because he allows both sides of the argument, and you only want to hear one side of the argument, Barry. You want to hear your side, and the other side doesn't count. Now you get to hear both sides, and you know I get a lot of left-wing tweets show up on my timeline, and of course I don't agree with them, but I read them and listen to them. And I do get a lot of right-wing stuff too, far-right stuff, which I don't really like. But I think it's good that he has used the algorithm, like for people who look up the political left and then they get the right-wing, they get right-wing stuff, and people who look up the political right and then they get left-wing stuff, because he's trying to get people to basically have compromise and to see each side of the argument, which I kind of really like. But there's a lot of things I don't agree with. But you know, it is what it is. So we'll talk about the war here in a little bit. It's really something I don't really want to talk about right now. The Vegas Golden Knights are 7-0-1, best start in the history of a defending Stanley Cup champion. And so you know, that's pretty good. Poker has been very interesting. So as you guys know, I told you I lost 130,000 3 weeks ago. I then won back 82. Then I won back 29. Going into the week, I was down 14. Started the week off well. 7,300 was up 15 after 2 days. After Monday, Tuesday. Or Tuesday, Wednesday. I then took Thursday. No, I'm sorry. It was Monday, Tuesday. I took Wednesday off, Wednesday night, because I had to be up early for the procedure. And so then I played Thursday night after the procedure, in which I really played well for 90% of the session. And then I misplayed two hands very poorly and end up losing 15,800 on the day to put me negative for the week. And I'll tell you pretty much what I did wrong. We're playing stand-up game. It's 500 a man, so if you lose 4,000. And guy made it 1,100. I had two tens. I mean, I have to make it 5,500 with two tens. Instead I only made it 3,600, and he calls. Flop comes ace-6 deuce. I bet like 2,200, and he calls. And I didn't think he had a big ace. He's the type of person that probably would have 4-bet me with ace-king, ace-queen. And the correct play is just check fucking fold the turn. But I decided to fucking bomb it for 5,700 for about a half pot. And he called and it left me with 6K behind. And now I check folded river. So I gave away basically 5,700. But the truth of the matter is, if I go 5,500 pre-flop, I'm just going to win it with the tens. And instead of picking up 1,000, I end up losing in the hand 36, 22 is 58, and 57, 11,500. So it was a $12,500 mistake on my part. And the next thing you know, I'm sitting about 4,600 loser on the day. And the game's playing small, and everybody's talking about quitting. And then I butcher a hand. Now, before I go into the hand I butchered, I was really playing well before this stand-up game hand that I did not raise enough pre-flop and cost myself 11, what did I say, 12,000, whatever it was. But, I mean, there was a hand that came up where I had the king 10 of spades and, the queen 10 of spades. And it was raised, and 5 people took the flop. The flop came down, king 9-4 with 2 spades. The under the gun raiser bet like 2/3 pot in the 4 people. The next guy calls, I call, and another guy overcalls. And now the turn card puts out the 4 spades and pairs the board. And I have second nut flush. And the under the gun player now bets small, which was very weird that he would continue to bet into 3 people who called the flop, because somebody has to have a flush. And so his small sizing was a little bit of a red light, but the next person raised that small sizing 1,800. So it went 900. Let's see, he bet, I think he bet, what did he bet on that flop? Maybe he bet 600 on the flop, and it got raised to 1,890. And I just said to myself, how can he raise this here? The small sizing, he's the under the gun raiser. He's just got to have the nut flush. I just felt like he wasn't making a move. He didn't have a 4. Guy called behind me. I didn't even take one time bank. I just threw the hand in the muck. And now the guy behind me calls the double, and the original raiser folds. River blank, guy raised, then shoves for 13,000. Guy behind me calls 13,000. He has ace-7 of spades. Guys behind me has jack-deuce of spades. So I say 15,000. And we were joking around because where he's like, you owe me 15,000, motherfucker. How could you fold that hand, you know? And I was really playing good. So, you know, I got away from second nut flush, where I lost like $600 in the pot. And then I grenade the 2 10s in the stand-up game. And now comes the hand that I really play bad. So the game's getting ready to break. I raise under the gun, 140. 2 people call. Another player who likes to squeeze a lot. He makes it 990 out of the blind. And I have king, queen off. This is with a $10,000 stack, this is a fold 100% of the time. Or if I think the guy's full of shit, I 4-bet small and I get head up. Those were my 2 options. I decided to call like an idiot. And 4 of us take the flop. Flop comes queen 10 deuce with 2 diamonds. The 3-better checks. And there's 4K in the pot. I'm supposed to bet like 12.50, like 25% pot on this flop. I decided to go 2/3 pot like an idiot, like 2,700. And the guy on the button jams for 10,000. Now, I'm holding the king of diamonds. The guy on the button always three bets all ace suited in position. So his hand is three deuces. It just is. I even said it out loud. He has to have three deuces. I'm like, I don't see. He could have Jack nine of diamonds, maybe. But even Jack nine of diamonds, I'm not even a favorite against. And I call off 7,800. He shows me three deuces. And I fucking snap quit 15,800 loser. And so that's where my poker game ended Thursday night after my procedure. Now, I'm not blaming my procedure because I was feeling not that bad and I thought I was playing really good. It just sucks that I got away from so many hands and found myself, I was up like 7,000 most of the night and end up losing like 15,800. So I was really upset about it all night. I couldn't stop thinking about it, right? Now all of a sudden my whole body started hurting. My parasympathetic nerves that they blocked went into hyperdrive. I went into the bathtub. I was screaming in pain. And I couldn't get out of pain, and it was a nightmare night afterwards. So not only did I punt 15,800, I didn't play I was in a lot of pain. And I was really mad at the way I played. So finally went to bed, woke up, and, wanted to watch Game 1 of the World Series, and watched Game 1 of the World Series, and got back in the game, started playing. And I really set my sights on really, really playing well yesterday, in which I did. And it all started, I got in a little bit of I first start off, I don't have my A game. I'm not really locked in, but I'm playing kind of careful. Game's not playing that big at this point, and I'm trying to get kind of relaxed and in the groove. I took a half of Adderall when I woke up at like 2, and I felt like I needed to take like another quarter Adderall, make sure I was a little bit sharper. And then this hand comes up. So we're playing a bomb pot, and it's we're playing six-handed, and I have 10-6 off in the middle blind, and the flop comes 10-7-4 with two hearts, and I lead out for like I always lead out when there's, let's see, 7-handed game, so 200. I think there's 1,200 in the pot. 6-handed games, 1,200 in the pot. It was 6-handed, and so I always lead out for like half pot and bottom pot. So I lead out for 599, and next guy calls. Two hearts on the board. Now the turn card comes off suit 3, and now I lead out for about 1650. I go pretty big here. For two reasons. A, two pairs raising me on the flop. Possible straight or flush draws are raising me on the flop. Over pairs are only calling. And I could easily have two pair. It's a bomb pot. So I bet out 1,800. Next guy folds, and the next guy puts me all in for 8,900. And I just told myself, well, I know he doesn't have me on the flop. I know he doesn't have two pair on the flop. He's not raising bottom two pair. It's a bomb pop. He's just going to call. I blocked a straight with a 6, and it just felt bluffy to me. And I called, and he had 7-5, and I win this pot, and I'm up 11,000. And to me, it was a really, I don't make one pair calls in bomb pots like ever, let alone one pair with a 6 kicker. That is probably the lightest I've ever called in a bomb pot, maybe in my life. But it was just my gut. And all of a sudden, I just felt I was in the rhythm. And I win this pot. I'm up like 11,000. The next thing you know, I just, got aggressive, won a few pots. I ran a 3-barrel bluff that worked. And the next thing you know, I was up like 30,000. I then lost stand-up for 3,500 and decided to quit around 1:30 a.m. and take a, nice little win, 26,000 win, 26.5 win. And so that put me up about 23K for the week. And now puts me up 9,000 since I lost that 130. So I plan on playing tonight, hopefully, and as long as I'm not in pain, and hopefully I'll play well and have a really good week. So overall, poker, I took my worst losing week I've had in 8 years, including my worst losing day I had in 8 years, and set myself 2 months to get it all back. And I have done it in 3 weeks with a lot of maturity, a lot of focus, and I'm proud of myself because the old Mike just would have just rushed to just play it and try and get it back. So the new Mike, gets it back and you get it back quick. Just like the old Mike would have gone, who went 1-9 last week in the NFL, would have lost 50,000. The new Mike, who went 1-9 last week, ended up breaking even because he bet on his game of the week 3,000, and I bet 2,000 on my second best pick, which lost, and I bet 1,000 on my third best pick. So, that's just maturity and learning from your mistakes in life, and that's why, that's a lot of mistakes a lot of mistakes in my life that you learn from, and that's I'm pretty proud of myself. So that's how poker's going. I'll get back with you guys. We're gonna have try and keep the Mouthpiece podcast going Friday nights, maybe even Saturday nights. I don't know, depends. Friday nights, Saturday nights, and we're gonna give our pick of the week, and we'll go from there. So poker's going okay. I mean, we're only up a peanut for the last 3 weeks, but we're down a zillion, so we can't complain. Let's see what else is going on. All right, so I looked through the schedule for the NFL tomorrow, and I came out with I'm gonna let you guys know what I ended up taking in my Pick'em League. So in our Pick'em League, we got to take 10 games. And my number one pick, I told you I already lost, with Buffalo. I have my number, we're going to go from 9 to the top. I went 9, taking 7 with Washington. My 8th is Minnesota, but I might change that because I'm not quite sure. This is a really bad spot for Minnesota. I mean, Green Bay, they're on a short week. I did this early in the week, so this might be changed. I have Dallas as my 7th pick, but I moved that up. I took Dallas in Circa. They have, in their last 18 home games, they've averaging 33 points a game, and I think they're something like 12-1. And the Rams have massive injuries, so I moved Dallas up. I originally liked Seattle, but that was at 2.5. It moved to Cleveland getting 3.5, and I'm not taking. I ended up playing Cleveland in circa at 3.5. Their defense is really good. I don't think that as bad as they played last week, defensive, giving up all those points. I just don't think they'll give that many points up this week. So I took Cleveland circa, and I took I took the Jets as a number 5. I took Jacksonville as a number 4. And so my top 3 picks of the week are the Saints. They opened Indianapolis 1.5. The Saints are now 1.5. I just feel like the way Indy lost last week in a brutal fashion, and the Saints D is pretty good, and they've struggled. It's a must-win game for the Saints. I just think Saints are better than they are, than their record. So my top 3 picks this week, and the 5 I played at circa, are the Saints, Dallas, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Denver. Denver is my pick of the week at plus 7.5. Why did I take Denver as my pick of the week? Well, it's really easy. The Chargers pretty much put the division away last week by beating the Chargers, Kansas City. The Chargers are now sitting at 2-4. Kansas City is 6-1. The Raiders are 3-4. Denver is 2-5. And that division got locked up last week. They now have to go to altitude in Denver. Denver is coming off of a win. And if you look the last 2 weeks, Denver has fixed their defense. Their offense still looks like shit, but their defense is fixed. And lo and behold, who does Kansas City have on deck next week at home? They play the mighty Miami Dolphins. This is a absolute come flat spot for Kansas City that you're ever going to see. That's just it. I mean, this is a really all-in play of the week. It's a really big trap game. They're expecting snow in Denver. I didn't even know that. It doesn't matter. In the NFL, it's, are you ready to play or are you not? Of course, the Dolphins are overrated. I told you guys they played nobody. They were 5-1. 4 of their wins were against the 4 worst teams in the NFL, and the 5th win was against the Chargers, who are 2-4. So they hadn't played anybody. Look who they played. Look at their 2 losses. The Bills kicked the shit out of them. The Eagles kicked the shit out of them. There you go. But this is a look-ahead spot coming off a division, as far as I'm concerned, a division, wrapped up the division last week in week fucking 7 by beating the Chargers. And now they play in Denver with the big game. The Miami game is in Germany. That's correct. Yes, so that's even more of a reason. That's right. I forgot it's in Germany. So now they got to go from altitude across the pond to Germany to play the Dolphins. This is a game they must and come flat. If Kansas City doesn't come flat this game, I just won't believe it. I just won't believe it. You know, they are 6-1. They should have lost to the. They should have lost to the Jags. They should have lost to the Jets. They should have. I mean, they definitely aren't near. Don't look near as good as their record. You know, but this is definitely my pick of the week, and I feel real confident in it. I really do. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if they don't cover this game, or they might even win outright. So there you go. See if we can go 7-1 on our pick of the week. 6-1 through 7 games. That's my best start. And I really feel confident in this. Second best pick of the week is an interesting game. I mean, the line is like 4.5 or 5. I took a bad line in Circa. I took 3.5 with Cincinnati. This is another game that's just it's an all-in game for Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati loses this game, they're dead. They're coming off of a bye week. San Francisco, they don't know if Purdy's going to play. I recently heard that he's probably going to play. Debo is not going to play. They are very banged up. And Cincinnati's looking at, they're 3-3, and they're probably not as good as their 3-3 record. But they're looking up at the division. You got Pittsburgh 4-2. You've got Baltimore 5-2. And you have Cleveland 4-2. If they lose this game, their season's over. And San Francisco showed a lot of vulnerability. They lost 2 in a row, including really got owned by the Vikings last week. I mean, I did not think they were very good at all. And here's another thing. Like, I was looking at their schedule. So, if I'm not mistaken, Cincinnati's got a very, very tough game on deck, even after this Frisco game. So, they play at Frisco, and then they got to play the Bills. So, it's at Frisco, home against the Bills. These are 2 monster games. The Bills will be sitting on 10 days off, coming off of the game which they demolished Tampa yesterday, or Thursday, and somehow didn't cover. So if Cincinnati loses this game, they're at 3-4. Then they have to face a Bills team rested on 10 days. They could be looking at 3-5 and season over. So I just think it's a must-win game for Cincinnati. And Frisco's banged up. You know, team coming off a bye with the team banged up. So that's my second best pick. Those are the 2 best picks I got. I'm going to bet 2,000 on Denver, 1,000 on Cincinnati, and those will be my only 2 pick bets for the week. And yeah, that's it. I have those are my 2 top picks, and I have Dallas minus 6.5, Cleveland plus 3.5, and the Saints minus 1.5. Those are the 5 I took at Circa. Good luck to me after going 1-4 at Circa last week. I am pretty much now out of it, but you never know. It's week fucking 7. You put together 3-4, put together 3 5-0 weeks in a row, and you're back in it. You never know. You know, if I could go 0-9, I'm sure I could go 10-0. But who knows? Anyways, that's the NFL and what I have this week. We could take some phone calls and see what people want to talk about. Cover poker. I'm sure a lot of people want to talk about the war in Israel. I mean, I can't get over the anti-Semitism of the world. You know, I said it last week about meeting a guy at a birthday party, and we talked about how he's been a liberal Democrat his whole life and says he will never vote for the left again. The left has literally shown their hate. What have I been telling you guys? How much they hate. They pretend to be the party of love, but they hate. And it's unfortunate. Like, Biden's poll numbers dropped 11% since the start of the war because I don't think it's Biden's fault. People are abandoning the left because of their hatred towards Israel. I just can't get over the hate in the world. Like I said, there's only 9 million Jews in the world. There was almost more people out protesting death to Jews around the world today than there are Jews in the world. It's disgusting. It's abhorrent. And like we said, never again. There will be a never again. Never again. They're not going to wipe Israel off the map. Like the one saying goes, if Hamas put down their weapons, there'd be world peace. If Israel put down their weapons, there would be no Israel. That's it. All right, let's take some phone calls.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matiso on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live. Seven 702-329-0480. Give us a call. See what you want to talk about. Talk about whatever you want. 702-329-0480. And we're back to the fucking gun fucking thing. So, a man tells everybody he's having thoughts of shooting up air bases and killing people. And he is put in a psych ward and locked up. He is released and not allowed to own any weapons. Of course, he illegally obtains weapons and mass murders 18 people, and everybody wants to get rid of the guns. Do you know, in 1960, there was 160 million people living in the United States, and 550,000 were in mental institutions. In the year 2023, we have 360 million people living in the United States, and 35,000 are in mental institutions. We do not have a gun problem. We have a mentally ill problem. Period. AR-15s cause less than 1% of all gun-related deaths. Go look it up. I don't make up these stats. Regular guns cause 90%. 1% are caused by AR-15s. 1%. So don't listen to the propaganda about gun control. Got to get rid of the AR-15s, okay? It's just bullshit. It's a lie, okay? Every week in Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, there's 22 people, 27 people murdered. They don't call those mass shootings because those black lives don't matter. So just do your research. Don't follow the propaganda, Me personally, do I think that there should be AR-15? Do we need assault weapons? No. Okay. But it's people's rights to have it. And if everybody in Israel had an AR-15, there'd be 1,400 more innocent civilians still alive today. So that's my take on it. I've said this for years. Everybody should have a gun, a revolver, and if they want a rifle to hunt with, that's kind of all we need. But AR-15s aren't the problem. They cause less than 1% of the gun-related deaths. So, and you know what's even funnier is this goes to show you how uneducated people are. 69% of Democrats think AR-15 stands for assault rifle, where AR is the brand of the gun. That just goes to show you how uneducated and stupid they are. But when it comes to the gun debate, I've always sided with the left. I don't think we need assault rifles, but that's not. It's less than 1% of the deaths. It's just it's only politicized when some lunatic goes out and kills people, But nobody says a thing when they're shooting everybody in the south side of Chicago every week and killing innocent black babies. Nobody cares. So, just understand what the propaganda is and what's being said. My side of the thing is everybody should own a revolver and a rifle, and that would be it to me. But who am I to say? Because I don't like guns, because if I owned a gun, I'd have killed myself at least 150 times already. And so that's just it. So I just, it is what it is. And 702-329-0480. We got a lot of people listening. Give us a call. Talk about what you want to talk about. I was going to try and have Justin Bonomo on the show tonight. I really thought he'd come on, but I should have figured he wouldn't, because
I thought he would too.
no, he basically said, no, thank you, Mike. Not interested. And that's kind of typical. If you want to spout your point of view, the documentary will be out right before the World Series of next year. If you want to spout your point of view, that's fine. But be man enough to I told him, come on the show. We don't even have to talk about the war. We talk about poker. A lot of people get on my case. They're like, Bonomo's out of his mind. Bonomo's this awful human. And I don't think so. I mean, literally, like, even people on the left, they completely disagree with everything Bonomo says. And I disagree with most things that Bonomo says. But that doesn't mean that he's not coming from a position of love. Like, I do believe he cares and he loves people and he wants peace or whatever, but I believe that he comes from a brainwashed side that he sees the worldview. And but that doesn't mean he's a bad person. I mean, it's amazing how many people just attack him like he's some awful person and his views are so bad. And listen, in the world, you got to get just because you can't evolve unless you listen to other people's points of view. And that's just it. It's just funny, Barry, you said that shit. I have not watched Fox News since they fired Tucker. And I never will. I have turned on all week CNN, MSNBC, and Fox just to see how they're covering the war, because the propaganda tells you what is going to happen. Tucker never lies. Tucker is a straight shooter. That's why Tucker got fired. You can't hate Fox News and say how horrible they are and then be pro Fox News when they fired Tucker, because you have to understand why they fired Tucker. I told you this already before. His stance towards the war in Ukraine and his stance towards the fucking pharmaceutical industry with the fucking corrupt vaccines is why he got fired. That's just it. I'm very pro Tucker. Very pro Tucker. I'll always be pro Tucker. And he's a straight shooter. He tells it like it is. Like he says, I live my life by God. I believe in never lying. I believe in being a straight shooter. I believe in telling the truth. And everything that I've ever heard out of his mouth is the truth. So that's just it. Yeah, so anyways, 702-329-0480 goes to call. Yeah, Dwight Howard is pretty funny, but I like what Dwight Howard said. It was really funny. Did you see his tweet? He said, and this is what I always say. He's like, he said, what I do with my wood is nobody's business. It's pretty funny. And this is kind of like, that's like the whole trans, gay, bisexual, who cares? It's nobody's business. Like, if we accept people for who they are, that's just good. Don't stick it down our throats, you know? And that's why I say I'm all on board with the right, you know, with like, they want elementary schools and these young kids to be taught trans ideology and gay and bisexual ideology when all young kids want to do is have fun with their friends. So, anyways, you know, Barry might be an AI robot. Nah, he's not, because he always says goodnight, Mike, at the end of the show. So
He's just a keyboard troll.
He's a keyboard troll. But one day he'll actually call in and actually shoot the shit with me. Stop being a pussy. Anyways, yeah, we have a lot of listeners tonight. I'm surprised we don't have any phone calls. 702-329-0480. And we'll talk about what's going on. I'll tell you, man, if you're a compassionate person and you listen to my show and you're on the left, you have to be, I don't know the words to use, like in shock. The vitriol anti-Semitism coming from the left on Israel, from the far left. It's 100x worse than what's coming from the far right. And there is some coming from the far right. And I unfollowed like three people who a couple of them I consider friends on the far right. Their anti-Semitism is a lot different. They're pushing the America First agenda, and they're trying to lump Israel with Ukraine. And we don't need to fund Israel or Ukraine. We don't need to fund any wars, you know. But Israel's, beside London and Britain, is our closest ally in the world. And they're the only functioning democracy in the Middle East. You know, it's a country of 9 million people. 7 million are Jews. 2 million are Arabs. And they're surrounded by over 1 billion Arabs. So, yeah. Stop with the main killer was a fucking follower of whatever. Yeah. And you know, and what was the trans killer that killed the 9 people in an element? Oh, we don't get that manifesto because they don't want to tell you who that person was following. They only want to tell you what you want to hear. You gotta understand. The guy was mentally ill. He went to a mental institution telling people he wanted to kill people, and they let him out. This is on the people who let him out. It's not on guns. It's not on who he liked. It's not on who he followed politically. This is on the mental institution letting a guy out that said he wanted to kill people. That's just it. That's it. Stop politicizing everything. That's just it. It's 1 + 1 is 2. He was let out from a mental institution when he told everybody he wanted to shoot people up, and then he did. Has nothing to do with political, has nothing to do with guns. It's those people are responsible, the people who let him out of the mental institution. That's just it. 702-329-0480. I really like to hear some people's calls today. Stephen, I'm not a big fan of Trump going after today's speech to the Republican Jewish Coalition in Las Vegas. For people that don't understand, the Republican Jewish Coalition is once a year. It's the biggest Jewish Republican event of the year. It happens once a year. Thousands of people come into town. Most pay a lot of money, $15,000 to $50,000 donations, and it's a very big event. I get in for free because I'm very good friends with the guy who runs the Republican Coalition, and I want people, whether on your left or right, it's very important to be open in the world, to listen to the speeches of all the people running for president that were at the Republican Jewish Coalition today. I thought Vivek gave the best speech. Okay. And you guys could go look at it yourself. Tell me what you think. I think DeSantis's was very strong. He had a lot of energy. And when we talk next week, somebody, after you listen to if any of you guys go out and listen to those speeches, you can call me and you can tell me I was right or I was wrong. I thought Trump's speech was awful. And I've watched Trump speak every year at the Republican Jewish Coalition. He wasn't there last year. And I just don't understand how he can fly in and so he just doesn't care. What am I saying? I don't understand. He cares about no one but himself.
Apparently we missed a call. I'm going to call back.
Okay. And, 30 minutes. He flew in for 30 minutes, for 30-minute speech to talk about himself.
Hello.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Mike. Yeah, I called a couple times.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not Jewish. One thing, though, my phone is might drop, so you might have to call me right back.
No problem.
I'm not Jewish. I was born Catholic. I'm actually an atheist right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I did some research on the Palestinian issue.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is a Palestinian? Because I heard that they're Arabs from Egypt and Saudi Arabia. That
Yes.
The Jewish people were there for 4,000 years.
Correct.
And these people are just like gypsies that were just on barren land.
Yes. There was never a state of Palestine. There was never a country called Palestine. There was never a Palestinian state. Okay, when the World War II happened, and immigrants that survived the Holocaust were then given the land by Britain, by the UN and Britain, as the state of Israel. And they got sovereignty in 1948. And the Arabs, they had there's been like 5 or 7 different wars, and Israel's won all of them to survive. And there is a myth, and I put it out on my Twitter to show it, that the Israels are on Palestinian land and stolen land, which is just not true. If you look back at your history, the state of Israel was there 4,000 years ago. It was then taken over by Romans, by Britons, and whatever, and then it was handed back, and Israel was reborn in 1948. There's been 5 separate peace plans. Every single time, the Palestinians did not agree. They don't want a 2-state solution. It has always been death to Jews, death to Israel, death to any Jewish people. That's just what they stand for. They are born into hate. They are born that. And unfortunately, when you're born and your parents at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old are telling you, hate the Jews, hate the Jews, hate the Jews, when your only purpose in life is to kill Jews, you have what happened on October 7th. And, a lot of people, even me, like I knew there was anti-Semitism in the world, and I never, ever thought what I'm witnessing now. Now, people who I talk to, like my mother, some of her friends, when Hitler came to power, the United States and all the protests were all pro-Hitler back then. And that's why, if you listen to David Ben-Gurion, who's first leader of Israel, talked about how the West abandoned the Jews during the Holocaust. And that's why they say, never again. And to look 75 years later and watching the world gang up on 7 million Jews living, which is 1% of the population, not even, is right. Horrifying. It's horrifying. What I saw in London this week, today, where there was like 3 million people. Did you see the bridge in London crossing Big Ben? And
yeah, I've noticed it's all over the world. One thing though, the people of Palestine, have they not always been the Jews? Like this whole Palestine name, Palestinians. Okay. There's no such thing. Aren't these people just Arabs?
Yes,
the people of Palestine
correct.
Were the Jews, weren't they?
Correct. And so, and here's the thing that the media won't tell you is, and it's the same video that Daniel Negreanu put out and that I retweeted. 500,000 of the 2 million people who live in the Gaza Strip cross the border to work in Israel every single day.
Right.
Okay.
One solution, wouldn't it be if these people say that they live in an open-air prison because the Jews can't trust a lot of them, because let's face it, there's a lot of terrorists in that Gaza Strip. The population of Egypt is 110 million. To bring in 2 million Arabs into Egypt would be nothing.
Correct.
And then they could live a great life. Like, why are they living in that open-air prison, as they call it?
Because the Arabs or the Egyptians know that like 1 million of them are terrorists. Not 1 million of them, but like 500. They don't want terrorists coming across their border. And you also have, the Jews, Israel gave Gaza in 2005 to the Palestinians, who then elected Hamas. And instead of taking all the money that has been given to the Palestinians, and Hamas used it for weapons, for underground bunkers. Did you see their whole entire network of tunnels and their headquarters are underneath a hospital?
Got like 10 different levels of tunnels down there.
Underneath a hospital. Did you see the picture of the hospital that was released today, the video? So that's how, like, even Netanyahu put out in English today, look how sick these people are, and showed their entire headquarters. Everything is underneath a hospital. That just goes to show you how sick they are. Now,
but the thing is too, like for the Jews to have a Jewish state, they've been there for 4,000 years. The Arabs, they're like Jew.
They weren't even.
Israel
there was no.
Surrounded,
correct. I mean, it's
surrounded by Arab states. Like, why can't these people? There's not a lot of them. Why can't they just move to one of their? Because they're all like, from what I've read, I don't know. There's no such word. There's no such person as a Palestinian.
Correct.
These are Arabs.
Correct.
That in the 1960s, someone coined the term Palestinian.
Correct.
But what are they exactly? Because they're not from that land. The Jews are from Israel. Like it's the land of Judea or something.
Correct.
It's called that because it was Jews there.
Correct. Now, when we gave the land to and gave them Gaza, that's beachside property. They could have built the Gaza Strip, into Tel Aviv. If you've never been to Tel Aviv, basically Tel Aviv is like South Beach, Miami. Okay, right. It's on the water. There are nightclubs everywhere. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Okay,
right.
It's like South Beach and Vancouver put together. It's truly one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And to think that
No, they got that Mediterranean
Yeah.
beach.
But in Gaza,
25 miles of that.
all the billions and millions that were given, instead of starving their own people, which they do, and they live in an open air prison, they put all the money in themselves, and they're living in palaces in Qatar and all over the world. You know what I'm saying? And but people, it's like Matt Glantz tweeted out, free Palestine from Hamas. Because if the Palestinian people, who basically they were not called, like you said, Palestinian people, they were basically called...
they're Arabs.
I forgot
I heard they're actually from... most of them are Egyptian and Saudi.
I forgot exactly what the word what they were called before that. But if they are to thrive, Hamas must be destroyed. And if you get rid of Hamas and you destroy Hamas, and of course the U.S. and Israel will pay to rebuild the whole Gaza and rebuild everything, and they get a government in there that will be for the people.
I don't even think that's even a solution, though, because I think eventually it'll get back to the terrorists. I think.
Well, of course it will, because the hate, because the hate is so bad.
I think the only solution, I think, as an outsider, is basically get the people out of there, send them to pay off Egypt or whoever wants to take them lots of money to take these people, and then just
think about this. There's 2 million people there, and there's Arab countries all around them that house like over 1 billion people, and none of them will take any of the people from Palestine. So they want any of the Palestinian people. So they want to tell you, the propaganda coming out is, humanitarian issue. Oh, Israel is committing genocide. And first of all, Israel for the last 2.5 weeks have been telling everyone, you must move south. You are in extreme danger. You must move south. You must move south. There was a recording yesterday, and the IDF released it, of the IDF talking with a man and his family, saying that Hamas will not let them leave.
Oh, yeah, no, they don't want to.
Okay.
Because they think if they leave, on top of the human shields, they also think they won't be allowed back.
Yeah.
So,
but they will not let. They would not let them leave, and so the Israeli IDF. You listen to the recording. They're like, well, what roads are being blocked? So then Israel is trying to go in there and unblock those roads to allow these people to leave. Like, if you understand, people don't understand what Judaism is about. Okay, Judaism is about love for people and caring for people. And that's why, you've ever heard the word, the Israelis are the chosen ones, right? Chosen people.
Yeah, no, I heard that.
Right? There's very few Jewish people that don't want love and peace. That's why you have so many Jews that are Democrats, because they believe in, liberalism, love people for who they are, and that's a good way to be. We want to love peace. You even see some of the Orthodox Jews that are marching, like in New York, and they're against Israel and the war going on, because they just want peace. Because the real religious Jews, they just want to love everyone, peace with everybody.
If Israel left, like say there was no Israel anymore, and the Palestinians took over the country. That thing would be a terrorist state.
Of course.
It would be another, it'd be like Iran over there.
Of course.
What I mean?
It'd be worse. And the truth is like, Israel's not going anywhere. Could there be, am I worried about World War III? Yes, I am. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm worried about World War III is I know how corrupt the media is. And I know when they're pushing something, it's whatever they're pushing is opposite of what it should be. Like when they were pushing the vax, I knew something was wrong, because they're letting hundreds of thousands of people die in the streets that are homeless, they could give two shits about. 107,000 people a year are dying from opioid overdoses. And again, nobody cares. Yes, you turn on it's mass shooting. Oh, we got to get rid of the guns. 18 people murdered. Blah, blah. There's fucking 3 people, I think, per a minute or an hour dying from opioid overdoses that's coming across our open border that is wide open.
What do you think about this war, though? Do you think it could expand to? I know if Hezbollah starts shooting off their 15,000 precision missiles into Tel Aviv or some of these other
then there won't be. Israel just dropped the bomb on them. I mean,
that's what I'm thinking. I think what's going to happen is Iran's going to get nuked. I think.
Well,
I think
here's the thing.
If this expands,
I'm going to tell you a bet I made for a couple thousand yesterday. I made a bet that I'm going to tell you 2 bets I made. I made a bet that the guy who killed everybody was already dead, that he shot himself, and I should have made so much more money. I had people wanting to bet me 10,000 that he was still alive. I said, dude, the guy killed himself. They can't find him because he's in the woods somewhere. And I didn't take. I literally could have finally won like 10 or 20,000 in side bets, and I only won a couple thousand. So that was one bet I made. Now I made this bet, and I actually pray to God I lose it. But I made a $10,000 bet with Phil that in the next year that we will launch a missile or a aircraft carrier off our aircraft carrier that will drop bombs on Iran. And
what do you mean, nukes or just regular bombs?
Bombs. We're going to go to war. We're going to, just like we did with Iraq. And I just don't. The reason why I made this bet, and I hope I'm wrong, is you have to listen to the propaganda. You must listen. That's why it's so important that people listen to left-wing media and right-wing media, right? And what do you hear? What do you hear as soon as you turn it on? Iran, right? You turn on Fox News, right? Why aren't we attacking Iran? Like they're pushing for war with Iran. So you got the right pushing for war with Iran, the left, not calling out why we're not attacking them, but bringing up Iran. And
what about? See, I'm thinking Biden is at fault for all of this because he was so weak with Iran.
Of course he is.
If Trump was still in there, Iran would have been on their knees.
If Trump was still in office, there would be no Ukraine war, and there would be no thing in the Middle East. Think about it. Do you remember when Trump made Jerusalem the capital of Israel? And they said everyone said that all the Arabs are going to go to war and we're going to have World War III. And what did we have? We had nothing. Because weakness brings war. Strength, peace through strength. Now, does that mean that I like Trump? I do not like Trump, okay? But his policies were good. Peace through strength. He told Putin, if you invade Ukraine, I'll drop a bomb on fucking Moscow.
Yeah, on his head, he said.
On his head. Now, he said, did he think he believed it? He said probably not, but if he believed it 5%, that was enough. Okay? The second Trump was out of office, they started surrounding Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And again, people don't understand what's going on with Ukraine. You have to really do your research, okay? Putin only wanted to take the Donbass area and the area next to it. Those are voted 80.
Yeah, those are,
they're all
like,
Russian
it's all
speaking.
Russians,
it's all Russians. And they voted. 81% said they want to be a part of Russia. So when the propaganda media tells you, Putin, we can't invade here or can't take this because then he's going to invade Poland, then he's going to invade Kiev. It's all bullshit. That's all propaganda bullshit. So you have to do your homework.
He wanted Ukraine because they got oil and they got that land for wheat and all that stuff they grow.
It's
mean?
not.
And
he doesn't.
It's corrupt. It's corrupt as hell. That
listen,
Ukraine.
It's very corrupt. It's the third most corrupt country in the world, right? And if you look at all the corruption in Ukraine, right? What did they impeach Trump for the first time? But because he was outing fucking Biden for the corruption, right?
He made a phone call. Yeah.
Yeah, and what did they do?
Biden takes 50 million.
And you have to
Biden
understand
takes 50 million.
everything going on, like with the whole they have proof of the millions and millions from the Burisma deal with the gas company.
Yeah, 5 million each in a bribe.
Correct.
The son and the
You
father
have
and
to do
son.
your research, right? So it's like I said, when they're telling you one thing, it's usually the opposite. And so you have to, they told you Trump was going to crash the economy and start World War III. And what are they doing? They crashed the economy and they're starting World War III. So I'm very worried about World War III because I do know for a fact that the Iran has been giving drones to Russia in the Ukraine war. And Iran is, even though Putin is very he's Christian and very pro-Jewish. I don't know if the United States attacks Iran if it doesn't bring Russia into the war, because as you know,
yeah, that's what they're saying. But I'm wondering if Putin would have given, like, if Iran doesn't have a bomb yet, because I'm not even sure. I think they might even have one.
Oh, they've
been working on that.
They have one, and I
think they have a few, maybe.
This is my opinion, okay, and people might not like it, think it's popular, but I do believe that I don't believe that the most secure country in the world, the people that can hear talks between all of Hamas and have all these signals, have all these cameras, that this could have happened by accident. And if it did, Netanyahu's political career is over. It's over anyway, probably. And
you think Israel knew that this attack was going to happen and they let it happen?
You have to understand what was going on in Israel before the attack. Okay, they had the worst.
There was severe
protests,
upheaval and stuff.
Yes, and you know what? And I did reading, and what the protests were about was Netanyahu's hard right stance on Hamas and what was going on with Hamas. Okay, and the left wanted more aid and more openness to the Palestinian people living in Gaza, and so Netanyahu's taking a far right stance on it, and now all of a sudden 1,400 Israelis are slaughtered. The country is now, it's actually now, instead of, how we're so divided, they're actually united for the war and to take out Hamas because of what happened.
I understand that, but you don't think it could have been that they were planning for like a couple of years and they were planning on this date because it was some Jewish holiday or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing.
Cell phones off.
Well, here's the thing, this is the 50-year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War within one day, and you kept hearing from both sides, like United States, Israel, how quiet everything was, right? There had to be. I just think that there had to be there. You're talking about an intelligence failure 100x worse than 9/11.
Oh, I understand. I'm just wondering. Did they not have total surveillance on that whole wall? Because they breached the wall,
that's
I think,
the thing.
25 spots.
Exactly. And it doesn't make sense, right? Like, if you do a lot of reading, like, this is the most secure wall ever, And so what the thing is Netanyahu's been saying forever, right? Like, we gotta take out Iran. They're going to get the bomb. If they get the bomb, Israel's going to be destroyed, right? And Trump ripped up the Iran nuclear deal. And Trump was very pro-Netanyahu on this subject. But Biden gets in office.
Well, the thing is, Israel is such a small country.
Yeah,
if you think about it,
it's the size of Washington.
And, a couple of nukes and Israel's gone. Like
a couple.
It's not like the USA. If you'd have to shoot like maybe 500 nukes.
Israel's not 9 miles wide and 28 miles long. That's it.
Right.
And so Biden comes back in. He wants to reignite the Iran nuclear deal, right? And they were giving all this aid to Iran and all this. It's long. It's really a really crazy long story. But listen.
Well, he thought he could negotiate with them, but the problem is you can't negotiate with terrorists. You know
No,
what I
you
mean?
can't.
Like they want Israel gone, so it's not even like you can't give them unlimited money, let them sell their oil, all that stuff. It's not going to work. They only go with what like Trump was doing, where basically taking them to their knees and making them beg for.
Well, that's the thing. You peace through strength. You can't have. Again, I fault like I don't dislike Joe Biden because I think it's elder abuse. I think what they are doing to him is elder abuse. He should be like
It is.
in an old
He
age
should be in an
home.
old age home.
The guy
Think about it.
can't
He could not even qualify. If he went for a job at Walmart
Right.
to be a greeter, they would tell him, "Look, buddy, go to an old age home." You know
Do
what I
you?
mean? Let's
But
forget about
on
it.
the world stage, do you see how weak he looks? He looks like an old, fragile man. You can't have a leader of the supposedly the strongest country in the world look so weak on a weak stage. Like, even if you don't think he's mentally weak, which he is, he looks so fragile. He's an old guy that it's just not.
Well, he's gone.
He's
Like,
gone. He was gone in 2020, and now it's really bad. And
it's
so,
getting, yeah, and
and
in another 12 months, forget about
Well,
it. Like,
I
I
just-
don't even know.
I'm so listen. I bet 3 years ago 20-1. I made $2,000 bets. 20,000, 1,000 that Biden will not run in 2024. And everybody's like, "Oh, I'm going to lose." I am not going to lose this bet. They have Gavin Newsom went to Israel. They had Gavin Newsom with Xi Jinping 3 days ago. They are going to run Gavin Newsom. They are not going to run Joe Biden.
The only reason I think they like Joe Biden, the Dems, because they could rig the election again. They're pros at that.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of mail-in ballots again. But the thing is, they like him because they can control him, because he's basically just a weatherman. They give him a script.
If you think
and,
he's running,
he just
I don't.
reads it.
But I don't even believe he's running the country. I believe that
He's not. That's
I
the
believe
thing. There's
Obama's
people
running.
behind
I
him.
believe Obama's running the country,
Could
and
be Obama, yeah, that's what
and
they
who
say, yeah.
and I believe that the people who are pulling the strings tell Obama, and Obama tells Joe. And
Joe's
that's
not
just it.
running nothing.
Joe's doing nothing. He shows up. He goes where he's told to go. I mean, he can't even read off of a card. I mean, it's so sad to watch. And
Or
like
when he has those meetings, he has those little cards that he reads off
but
while
he,
he's having a
he
meeting.
can't
with,
even read off of them. And even like if you listen to his speech when he was in Israel for 30 minutes, it was a disaster. It was awful to watch. It was so weak. It was horrible. And
I
man.
like his latest thing with scaring people is
Oh, don't. I mean, really?
Don't.
Trump went up there and told Rocket Man, if he didn't put his rockets down, there'd be nothing. He goes, there won't be no more North Korea. He told them out in public. And remember, the media was like, oh my God, he's going to start World War III.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Dude, you got to put it down. Like, you got to be strong. Even like when Obama was in office, he put the red line on Syria, right? Remember that? And then he did nothing.
And then he did nothing.
You know?
Yeah, they sent over more chemical weapons. And did nothing.
Exactly. You know, it's
No,
just
these
like,
guys are not. I think the problem with Biden and the people behind him is they don't want any bad press. So the main thing is they don't want to start a war. It's like if they attack Iran or if they attack, like Syria or whatever, if they're shooting off like 100. I heard they sent over like 100 rockets. or
Just
something.
remember, wartime presidents get reelected. Okay.
Yeah, but Biden is.
I know.
He's
I agree.
So weak. Like
So weak.
I don't think they'd want anybody would want Biden as
If
the
you
wartime
look,
president.
they have to be running Gavin Newsom. He even said when he had the interview with Xi Jinping like 3 days ago, he's like, "Oh, it would be fun if it would be great if I was president." I'm telling you, they're running Gavin Newsom. I
believe it.
There's
believe
no
actually, Gavin,
chance they're running
He would
Biden.
be actually. He's very presidential looking. His policies are horrendous. In California, he's destroying
the
the
worst.
state, and he
We
would
call
destroy the
him
country.
Gavin Newscum because what he did to California, you know. But you got to remember, he is a good-looking guy, and he's a very good politician. He's a great liar. Okay,
He's a great talker.
a
gives
great
the gab,
talker.
like,
Okay,
you know.
and people are will fall for that shit. Now, the failures of California will it hurt them? Yeah, but I just don't see. You have to understand, like, okay, what's an appeal in politics? Like, what was Trump's appeal? He was a star. He was a reality star. Everybody wanted to be Trump. Nobody said a bad word about him until he ran for president, right? And so you look at Gavin Newsom, and he's a good-looking guy who is a really good politician. I mean, he lies better than anybody. And then he laughs. Like, you watch the interview with Hannity after the second debate. It's like the way
I saw that. I mean,
it was just
he was actually really good. Gavin was really good. You think how the hell does he destroy California?
Exactly. Did you see how he came across? That's what I'm trying to say. He comes across as authentic, but he's a piece of shit, right? Like honestly, I mean, Biden at least.
So you think if Biden and Trump run, like say Biden is the guy who runs, or even Gavin, you think Trump will lose?
I don't think Trump has any chance of winning, no matter what. And
you think they're going to rig it, or you think people are going to actually vote for Biden?
Both. I think. Listen,
Careful what you say.
you know, yeah. This is the thing, okay? When people talk about, I really got to watch what I say about the 2020 election, but there was no mass fraud, okay? They released COVID on the world. COVID then was used to put new voting laws in with the mail-in ballots in the main swing states, which allowed them to win the election. Like I said, if you take the four swing,
but you don't.
If you take the four swing states,
but you actually don't think there was major voter fraud, like in terms of those, because there was even.
Do I think there was?
With a truck, he had an 18-wheeler full
I do,
of ballots.
But
he was driving them from New York to one of these,
know that those
swing
it's
states.
been proven. 200,000 ballots. I've seen that. Okay, but you have to understand, Trump lost the election by 23,000 votes in four different. If you flip 23,000 votes in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Atlanta, 23,000 votes goes the other way. Trump's our president. So forget what 6 million extra people vote. That doesn't mean nothing. It goes by the.
No, but I honestly think that Trump won by a landslide, and they had to cheat like crazy just to get Joe Biden to be within 20,000 to win. Because I actually looked at all the elections.
All you have to do is look at the data.
2012.
Do you look at the data? The data will tell you.
I looked over everything. The thing is, if you look at the numbers from 2008, it was the election with Obama versus McCain. There was about 126 million total votes, and then 2012 with Romney versus Obama, I think the total was around like 128 million votes, and then Hillary and Trump, the total was about maybe 129 million votes. It was always under 130 million total votes.
There's only supposedly there's only like
Obama was running. When Obama was running and Hillary were running, they were filling stadiums. People were going to see them like crazy. They were all so happy to vote for them.
Joe couldn't get 100 people there.
But then with Joe Biden, Donald Trump, he got 75 million votes. Yeah. That was the most any president got ever prior to 2020. The record holder was Obama. In his first election, he got 69 million.
Yeah.
Trump got 75 million.
Correct.
So he got 6 million more votes. The only way that they could have this happen is if Joe Biden got like 80 million votes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so like I said, the previous three elections, it was under 130 million total votes for the prior three. This election, 2020, 155 million total votes. Yeah. So there was actually something like 25 or 27 million more votes.
It's like Brian just says, if you look at the bellwether counties, Trump won 80% of them. There's never been in the history of the country where a person has won more than 50% of the bellwether counties that the other person
I
won
actually
president.
bet $1,000 that Trump was going to win. Yeah. And that night, I actually went to bed.
I actually bet he was going to lose. But
no, I actually went to bed thinking I won. And then they dragged it on for like, I don't know, a month. Because they had to print up more fucking ballots.
But you have to also look at that when at 10:30, at 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. Eastern time, they they shut down they stopped counting for an hour, all 4 of the states, and then they kicked everybody out. They kicked everybody out from the counting stations, and then an hour later they came back and if you look at the data for the 1 hour, it goes straight up where Biden gets 99.
All Joe Biden.
You have to look at the data. So
yeah,
listen,
no, the chart actually shows a huge blip for Joe Biden. And then they saw that's because we were counting all the mail-in ballots.
Okay, well, how about the rest of the mail-in ballots? Why wouldn't it keep going up? Why would it only go up for the 1 hour they closed down the votes? I don't want to talk about it because they might give me another week suspension on my channel.
Yeah,
so I'm really not allowed to really have commitment because we live in a communist country now that you're not allowed to talk about anything. But
no, but it doesn't make sense. Like 25, 27 million more votes. And if you actually saw Joe Biden when he was actually going speaking to people, if you ever look, you could look on YouTube, or not even YouTube, even just pictures, and you can see the people were sitting in circles. Yeah. And there was only maybe 20 people in front of him.
Listen,
he couldn't get anybody.
I can't.
Even now, if he said right now, Joe Biden said, "I'm going to have a big, whatever, come and see me. I'm going to talk." How many people do you think he could show up? Would even show up?
Nobody.
You know.
No. Listen. I got to get off. See if we get some other callers going. But
right.
I appreciate the call, and I agree with you on everything. You know, I can't really talk about it because I don't want them to give me another 1 week suspension on my channel. Listen, I don't believe this is my honest opinion. I believe, and people could think I'm crazy, and it's going to come out one day, but I believe COVID was released on the world on purpose. It was released to make sure that Trump could never see the White House again. And I believe I don't know what's going to happen in 2024, whether it's World War III or whatever they're going to do, but Trump will never see the White House again. And I believe that in my heart.
I believe that too. I think they're actually, they would assassinate him if he actually gets close to the White House.
I agree.
I don't think there's powers that be that they don't want him. I don't know why they want Joe Biden or whatever, but I think he would get killed if he actually gets close to the White House.
I agree.
Again.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, Mike.
Denver Broncos
Okay,
tomorrow.
care.
Take care. Peace.
Take care.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So, you know, anybody who ever brings up the popular vote just is completely ignorant. We are a Democrat Republic. We have a we don't vote on popular vote. We don't vote on all the illegals that are in California. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. What's up? This is Mike.
Hey, Mike. It's John from North Carolina.
Hey, John. How are you, buddy? Good. Nice to hear from you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I enjoyed the conversation you just had. I believe everything that you said, and I'd like to maybe talk a little bit of, lighthearted, conversation.
Sure.
I know you're good friends with Alan Kessler.
Yeah, we get along. He's kind of nuts, but we get along.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering how come he hasn't done better in tournaments.
Well, if I played as many tournaments as Alan,
He plays a lot of them.
if I played as many tournaments as Alan Kessler played, I don't know how many I would win. I play 22 a year at the World Series, 25 a year. I usually make 3 final tables. I somehow can't win them. He plays probably 300 tournaments a year. He won 2 this year, small ones. Listen, Alan is. I've played a lot with Alan. His no limit hold'em is very weak, so he's not going to win any no limit hold'em. His best game is probably Omaha 8, stud 8, a lot of limit games, and Alan makes some critical mistakes a lot deep in tournaments, and even he got a miracle to cash the 25K horse, and he folded a hand close to the bubble, which would have gave him a full double up that he's just never supposed to fold. And then he plays scared. Like he loses a big pot, which cripples him, where he's just supposed to 3-bet his hand pre-flop.
Right.
And then instead he just calls. He lets a small blind call with this dog shit hand, and he ends up getting crippled in the hand. And so Alan doesn't quite play aggressive enough when you enter a pot, there's like certain things that you have to do. You get the ace, king, queen, deuce in Omaha 8, you just got to 3-bet it, and you got to get head up. And instead he flat calls, and he ends up getting crippled by a guy that never would have defended the big blind. And I've seen him do this many a times. And I don't, like I said, there's a reason why I final table an Omaha 8 or a stud 8 every year. I understand some things about split game tournaments that nobody does. And, that's why when...
Yeah, I wish I played more games. I'm just a Hold'em, Texas Hold'em.
I'll be honest with you.
But,
everybody knows how to play no limit Hold'em. You play mixed games. People are completely... They just don't. They're just so much easier to make money,
right. Well, I don't understand. I mean, if you don't have a lot of money to put into it, how are you supposed to get good at it? I watch a lot of videos.
Well, that's why I put out. And this is how me and Doug Polk had a little. We had the flare up, and we are going to play head up. Is when I said, should I open a tournament teaching site on Omaha 8 and Stud 8? And he ran his mouth like I'm some idiot, right? And there's nobody in the world that's had the results in Omaha 8 Stud 8 than I have. There's nobody even close.
Yeah.
And
they just don't have those tournaments, in regular.
And do I want to do it? And do I want to teach people? No, I really don't. But
I understand
the truth of the matter is if I could get 10,000 people to put up $1,000, then it'd be worth it to me. If I was only going to get a couple thousand people to put up $1,000, it's just not worth it to me, because I'm going to make way more than that in my lifetime, teaching people split games. And what my secret is, I went back to back at both stud 8 or better tournaments. I got 2nd and 9th this year. I've made 5 stud 8 or better final tables since 2018, including and since 2013, I've made the 10K final table 5 times, so 5 out of 10 years. In the 10K.
Yeah, but back in the 90s, when you were able to play those games, it wouldn't probably but a couple of $100 to get into a tournament and start understanding what's going on with it, right?
Yeah. And so, I have been thinking about teaching people Omaha 8 Stud 8, and all versions of it. And it's, and it's something that, I've really considered. But again, I don't know. I hear there's a lot of money in teaching poker now. When I was running a Deep Stacks Live in 2008, 9, 10, I mean, we couldn't get 100 people to show up. And but I'm sure they're making money, because I watched all these top pros are selling teaching packages on how to play, and they're obviously doing well. But listen, I never... I called it out, and it would be kind of hypocritical if I do decide to start teaching people, because I call people out. It's like, why? And I always ask this: why do professional poker players want to teach people how to play? How are you going to make money if everybody plays good? You know what I'm saying?
Did you charge anything to Phil Helmuth to learn?
I did teach Phil. I did teach Phil how to play all the mixed games. And he made 7 final tables in 7 different games in 2021.
I've lost once.
And the truth of the matter is I did it because Phil was there for me when nobody else was. And he wasn't there. People think he was like financially there, and Phil gave me a lot of money. Phil didn't give me any money. Okay, Phil took
hang out with all you guys.
Yeah, Phil took a lot of pieces of me. In other words, when I wanted to get into these good big games, Phil would take half of me. Phil would take 70% of me in games, and I couldn't afford, and then he also taught me money management. He helped me mentally, quit betting sports pretty much and learn how to take losses, money management. And Phil did a lot for me, and so I felt that Phil always talks, I want to go down as the greatest poker player ever, right? And I just believe the days of winning no limit hold'em tournaments are over, but he keeps winning them. So, but he had, last two that he's won have been super turbos. But he did also go very deep. He finished top 15 in like 7 no limit tournaments this year. So, as much as everybody wants to say,
he got number 17, right? Number 17 in this last year.
Yeah, in the Super Turbo. Now
at like 2:00 in the morning, one around, huh?
Yeah, and listen, nobody, there's a lot of things Phil does that I think is wrong in no limit hold'em tournaments, and so do most of the people that watch his game. They think is wrong. But they don't see the things that he does right, and the things that he does right overcomes the things that he does mistakes. Now, I've told Phil many times, listen, Phil, if you do this, and then he'll just shut me up. Don't talk to me about no limit hold'em. I'm 10 times better than no limit. I know more about no limit than you'll ever know.
Because I'm good at no limit hold'em.
And so you would think somebody that helped him in all the mixed games and sees some flaws in his no limit game, instead of saying how great he is, would take my advice. Now, if he took my advice on like 2 things in no limit hold'em, combined with what he knows, he would really, really be great again in no limit hold'em. But he's got.
Have you gave it a real good effort on learning GTO? I
honestly have no interest in it. I laughed at somebody tweeted out the other day, and I just laughed and said, you can't be good at no limit hold'em unless you study it religiously and you look at charts, and that's just bullshit. Like even Sean Deeb laughed at it. Like Sean Deeb's never fucking probably read a chart or GTO in his life. Like I'd literally bet on that. Like Bryn Kinney, you watch Bryn Kinney play, I guarantee you he's never ran a fucking GTO chart in his life. Okay? Like the only thing that GTO and solvers are going to teach you is if you're playing in the Poker Go studio against the 40 best players in the world. That's it.
Right.
Okay? There's you're not going to play 1,000 people fields, 3,000 people fields, and play GTO and win. You're drawing dead.
But do you think that what Daniel is doing is pretty good because he at least knows what they're doing? So when you do know that,
Daniel is 100 times the no limit player today than he was when he was winning back in the day. Daniel's a great no limit hold'em player. You know what I'm saying? And
so now he's studied it and he knows what they're doing, correct?
Correct. But what did he do when he won the Super High Roller Bowl last year? He decided he's going to try something different. He's going to go back to his old roots. And he started limping and small balling and limping. And they didn't know what to do when he was limping 100 big blinds deep. They didn't know how to react to it. And he dominated, right? So when a computer tells you what the right move is, the computer is basically a computer telling you the right move against other computers. You see what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Like I watched Jared Blesnick won the Super High Roller Bowl of Pot Limit Omaha, the other day, right? Jared Blesnick Everybody in the poker world knows that Jared Blesnick is first, second, or third best PLO player in the world. He's never ran a fucking solver in his life. He was playing against Chidwig and Ike Haxton, who have spent hundreds, thousands of hours in the lab studying no limit hold'em and PLO solvers. And okay, and I asked him when he won. I said, how was it playing against the robots? Like, how was it different? Was it harder than playing against the old school players? And his answer to me was, because we text, me and Jared are very good friends. I really love Jared a lot. He was there for me when a lot of people weren't there for me. And Jared told me they were tough, but in a different way. In other words, it was a different type of tough. And once he was able to break down what they were doing, he felt that he was. And if you watch the final table, I mean, Jared Blesnick just was by far the best player. I mean, he made some ridiculous folds, some ridiculous bluffs, and he was the best player. And there's not one person that could watch the final table of the Super High Rollerball PLO that won't tell you that Jared Blesnick wasn't the best player. And the guy who won deserved to win. And so there's plenty of top players. I mean, do you think Phil Ivey studied GTO? I mean, he's back crushing no limit tournaments, big tournaments in Triton. Okay?
Right.
I just don't believe that. You know what I mean? Listen, if you're a person that don't know nothing about poker and somebody says, and I recommend Jonathan Little, coaching service. I mean, I think he does a good job, and he teaches you, GTO, and teaches you basic game theory on no limit hold'em. You will be able.
It's too complicated.
Yes, but if you study it, you could have zero talent and make yourself $10,000 a month. Zero talent. Go anywhere in the world and you'll make $10,000 a month. Okay, you put the work in.
Yeah.
But there's people like Phil, like me, Dan, like the best players in the world, Sean Deeb, whatever. I'm not putting my up there with me. I mean, do I believe if I never got injured, I would still be as good as all these people? Yes, because I prove it every year at the series where I'm battling the best in the world in debilitating pain, and I've never studied shit. But the truth of the matter is like, you have to have the instincts. Like I talk about the 10-6 call I made yesterday for 12,000. Like, my gut just screamed that I was good, right? If I felt like every mistake I've made this year, I was deep in 3 no-limit tournaments. All 3, I went busted. I didn't follow my gut, okay? And it's like, and even the 2 mistakes that I made when I finished 5th in the horse and 2nd in the stud 8 and 9th in the other stud 8, there was a key hand that came up at every tournament. And every single time, my gut told me to fold or to call. And, you got to remember, I'm in a lot of pain. I'm dealing with, I deal with mental issues, whatever. And I didn't follow my gut. So I can name, if I followed my gut, I might have had 3 bracelets this year, And me and Phil talked about hands that he lost in a few tournaments that he didn't follow his gut. And he feels like if he would have followed his gut, he would have had 3 bracelets this year. So it doesn't matter. GTO, all that shit doesn't matter. It's like Sean Deeb, and I bring up Sean Deeb a lot because a lot of people might not like him, whatever. I like him a lot. But he plays with instincts. His gut, it's like when we talked about the Jack 4 hand at Robbie Louie, he's like, what does your gut tell you? Like, your instincts tell you, right? You feel things. You know when something's right and when something's wrong. And every time, all 3 no limit hold'em tournaments, I did not follow my gut, and it cost me 3 of them. Like the 5,000, second to last event, my gut told me to call with 9s when the guy 3-bet jammed on me. He ended up having 6s. I would have had like 50 big blinds with deep in the tournament. Instead, I bubbled it. And so, you you gotta follow your gut. And whenever I don't follow my gut is when I make mistakes. And the best players in the world, and people, and a lot of the GTO and solver guys like Berkey and stuff, they'll like to say, "Oh, you act like people are clairvoyant." People aren't clairvoyant. They don't know. Well, they do know. Okay. You can argue all you want. You do know. My gut is always right. If I follow it in poker, I would win and win and win. You know. Now, what caused me to not follow? Now, do I follow my gut a lot more than I used to? Yeah. But when Russ Hamilton was able to see my cards in 2006 and 2007 and stole all that money from me, it took away my ability to pull the trigger because my gut would. I kept following my gut, and he was calling me with fourth pair, whatever they were, because he was looking at my cards. And so it took me to about 2011 to even pull the trigger again. And now I'm pulling a lot more.
Gun shy, huh?
Yeah. And now I'm pulling a lot more triggers, but still not pulling enough triggers. You know what I'm saying? If I really follow my gut and start pulling triggers, oh my God, I could just really demolish and win a lot of money, you know. But it is what it is. But don't tell the best players in the world, they're field players, man. I guarantee you the top 5 players in every single fucking game are all field players. All field players, you know. And you could say, well, look at the people in the poker go, like look at the Bonimos and the Ikes, they're GTO solver people, okay, and they're like 2 of the top leading money winners in the world. Yeah, they are, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But how are they doing? How are they doing in open events? Right, they're doing great.
Well,
you see what I'm saying? How are they doing? How are they doing? Like Chino Ream. Chino Ream is one of the best, if not the best, field play tournament players in the world. I've been saying it for years. Once he got clean, he started demolishing poker. Right? This guy ain't fucking read a fucking chart in his life. He couldn't tell you a solver, a G2, nothing. Right? The best players in the world.
Is he doing good nowadays?
I mean, he just won the bust all around in a mixed game fucking tournament.
All right.
And he doesn't even play mixed games.
That's cool.
You know, he's a great no limit and fucking PLO player, right? But I'm just saying, the best players in the world are field players. There's nobody in the world Chino won every year but before he got clean, when he was on drugs, he was fucking won a $1 million open event once a year. Nobody was doing that, you know?
Yeah.
There's nobody won more open events than Chino Ream, you know? I mean, it's just the bottom line, you know? Anyways, let me see if I get some more calls. I appreciate the call.
We got a couple more.
And I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Peace.
Yeah, nice talking to you.
You're welcome.
All right.
We got a couple more.
All right, let's get some couple more. I got energy tonight. My Adderall hit me. I'm awake.
Hello.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike. What's going on, man?
Hey, Mike. It's Roger in Houston.
Hey, Roger. How's it going, my friend?
Good. How are you? You forgot to, when you were talking about Vivek, you forgot to mention Mike Pence checked out today.
Yeah, well, today. he was drawing dead from the get-go, you know. And you know, a lot of people on the far right were like, well, if he would have just done his job and sent the votes back to the states, which he was allowed to do, he would probably be the future of the party. You know, he said, well, I didn't do it because I thought it would cause chaos in the country, right? And again, you know, you say what you want, like Trump said, if the Constitution didn't allow it to happen, they wouldn't have changed the law once the Democrats took power. They changed the law that the vice president is no longer allowed to send the votes back to the states. So they were allowed to do it. He didn't do it. Do I fault him for not doing it? Honestly, no. You know, I think he made the right decision.
I don't either.
In not doing it again, but that's my opinion, and I think that he got a lot of bullshit for it. I thought that he was a really good vice president to Trump, and of course, but in Trump world, if you're not 100% on board with Trump, you're just a fucking loser, and that's the way Trump world works. And I'm not a big fan of Trump world. It's a cult, I do believe it's a fucking cult. And as much as I'm for Trump's policies, the man is old. The man is beaten, and I do not believe he is any good for the Republican Party. And
totally 100% agree with you. However, he still scares the shit out of me the way he runs Congress, or at least the Republican side.
Who, Trump?
Yes.
Well,
he's still calling the shots.
He is, but he also listen. There's got to be a way. Listen, I think DeSantis has ran a terrible campaign, and I don't know there's enough time left for him to rebound. I think Vivek was running a perfect campaign up until after or right before the second debate. I thought that he was getting a lot of airtime, and he just started too much. And I'm still on Team Vivek, don't get me wrong. But I see the mistakes he made. He got too much in an opinion on everything. Just like, what's Trump's downfall? He had to fucking have an opinion on everything. He had to fucking fight battles that he didn't need to fight. And I think Vivek had too much an opinion on everything. And he should have just stuck with, when he was climbing in the polls, he should have stuck with what Biden has done wrong, what we need to do to make to improve the country. And I think he veered, he wanted to, which was a good, I still think it was the right strategy, is you have to get the MAGA vote. If you don't get the 32% MAGA vote, you ain't winning a primary. And I think he veered just way too far right to the MAGA vote, and it turned off a lot of mainstream Republicans. Do you understand what I'm saying? And
totally. Did he? By the way, did he come on your show?
He hasn't been. I actually talked to his campaign advisor 2 days ago. I was supposed to meet him tonight and at the speech, and again, I was in horrible pain, so I couldn't go. But I still think I'm going to. I still believe I'm going to have him on. And I really like Vivek. I really believe he's the future of the party. I really believe he's a good-hearted man. I really believe, like, his speech on Israel today was by far the best of anyone. And like I tell people, I really want, whether you're on the left or right, I think it's important to listen to what the candidates and how they spoke on Israel today. Nikki Haley was very strong, but she's a warmonger, and she's establishment politician, and I think she's full of shit, and I don't like her. Okay, that's just my opinion. Okay, I like
Mike,
go ahead.
Mike, I think the biggest problem, and honestly, I think it's a poker hand right now. Whoever you pick in the deck, I call them all the 2% low-fat milk candidates.
Yeah.
No matter what they do or how they pull it out, they're going to garner no more than 2% of the vote.
Well, that's why you just hit it right on the nose. And I said it last week on my show. I said it every week on my show. Right? If they want to beat Trump, which I believe we have to win. I believe if Vivek or DeSantis is the nominee, we will win in the biggest landslide in 30 fucking years. Okay? If Trump's the nominee, they will never let him win. They will do whatever it takes. I just know this. I know it in my heart. And the cult, the Trump cult, is just so brainwashed. Like, I do believe that just like the polls were rigged in Biden's favor, they're suppression polls. Like, they had Biden like winning in a landslide over Trump, and as it came out, we know what happened there. And even if you whatever you want to believe happened there. It was 23,000 votes decided the election, right? And now they have Trump winning by all these polls. Oh, Trump plays Biden. He's up by 10 points. They want that because the Democrats want Trump as the nominee. They have so much ammunition to take him out that if he's the nominee, they know they're going to win. Okay, they could just run loop after loop of all the horrible things and the dumb fucking things he says and does. I can name 4 different things they could just run the loop on every TV, and Trump's just done. And the MAGA cult, and a guy named Tony Cousineau, he's a professional poker player, and he's literally won the most money in World Series history without winning a bracelet. And he's in the cult, and I have to argue with him all the time about that you got to get out of the cult. You got to understand what is they are telling you that Trump can't lose and he has 60%, and these are polls that are being spread by the left-wing media. They want Trump as the nominee, right? There's no chance. See, here's the thing. The Democrats, they look at polls and they go by who they believe has the best chance to win, right? They had 25 idiots on stage, and it was coming up on Iowa, and all of a sudden Mayor Pete wins the first 2, right? And they knew
the Democrats.
Yeah, they knew Mayor Pete, a gay man, could never get the black vote no matter what happens. So they had to nuke him, right? And then South Carolina comes around, and Claiborne and all South Carolina is rigged. And so they get Biden
was in 5th place until South Carolina.
As soon as Biden wins South Carolina, all of them, all 20 of them, they dropped out and said, Joe Biden's our nominee. Vote for Joe Biden. And they all dropped out, right? And they put because that was what the establishment does. Because on the Democrat side, they have super delegates, right? So they can never have an outsider like Trump ever win on the Democrat side. Correct. And so once Trump's world is over with, the Republicans are going to be in the same spot. They will never let an outsider in. They will never. They'll put some kind of rules in. They haven't yet, but they will. And establishment Washington, okay, is run by the same as establishment England. There's a group of 20 people in the world that really kind of make up the rules, and Trump, that's why he was on board with establishment Washington 50%. But you can't be, if you're not 100% on board, you're done, And so, that's where we're sitting right now. And I think this, I was on Team Vivek when he was climbing. I'm still on Team Vivek. Do I think Vivek has a chance? Honestly, I don't think so. So have I been somewhat teetering back to DeSantis? Yes, because I think that DeSantis, his record on its own, he's not. Is he a great politician? No, but he's a good man, and I just think that he can't lose, And it's not the thing is, it's not about who you like the best. It's not about if you're a Trump fan or not. It's about winning, okay? And who gives us the best chance to win? They keep thinking Trump does, and I don't. I
don't either. I don't either, but I am honestly he's going to win the Republican nomination. I think.
And if he does, I'll be the first one to run down and vote for him. Okay. Now, do I want to vote for him? No.
Unless there's some train wreck coming out of these trials, and I'm
listen.
I'm
there's nothing's coming out of the trials. They're going to get all they want to do. First of all, if you read all the indictments, okay, it's all bullshit. Okay, the only one that has teeth are the document case in Florida. Okay, and there's a lot to those documents that Trump literally made a lot of mistakes with those documents, but in the court of public opinion, if you find him guilty in the document case, what are they going to say? Well, Joe Biden did the same thing because they had the document case with Joe Biden. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but I'm going to say Biden works with them and Trump didn't. But okay.
Whatever.
Right.
We don't know, okay? But the bottom line is we know the New York is all bullshit. We know the Atlanta's all bullshit. But see, all they need to do is get one felony of the 95 to stick. Even if it's a bullshit one. And then they will run that he's a convicted felon and he did this, this, and this, right? Then they're going to run loops on January 6th, okay, even though he did nothing wrong on January 6th, okay? He told everybody, march peacefully, let your voices be heard, right? But
he's
not
getting charged for
right.
January 6th. Or
he is. Of course, they're trying to charge him with inciting insurrection, which is absolutely insane. Okay.
Okay.
And the truth of the matter is like, and DC is very corrupt, and they might they could get him on something. Who knows? Listen, you ever heard the saying, "Show me the man, I'll find you the crime." There's not one person listening to this show right now, including me running it, anybody around. If they want to find something on me or you, they will find something on you. Okay.
Totally.
They can find anything on anybody. Think about Trump. Since 1980, this guy's been the most vetted person in the world. They never found nothing on him, right? Now all of a sudden, all those people came forward. They sexually assaulted me. The one lady who they won a civil case against them, like they find out like after she wins a civil case that their tweets came forward that she's watching. That telling her friends on Twitter she's watching The Apprentice. It's her favorite show. If Trump like sexually assaulted, you think The Apprentice would have been her favorite show? I mean, it's just all bullshit, But the bottom line is I don't know what Trump did that they hate him so bad, but I just don't believe that it's a political persecution, and I think they purposely wanted the political persecution so the far right will vote him in the primary and then they could win in the election. And I don't think they're going to. I think maybe they'll get one shitty ass one to stick, and that's all they're looking for, And they're plus they're keeping him off the campaign trail of the rallies, and they're costing him millions and millions of dollars, and that's really what it's about. And I don't believe that he can win. But I'll tell you what, I know people who think he can. I know a lot of people, smart people, that think he can, and maybe he can. I don't believe it, but we'll see.
I think, and I'm not the expert, and I don't pretend to be, but I think if you got 81 indictments in front of you, I think you don't sleep well at night. I don't care how you.
Well, that was obvious today if you watched his speech on Israel. That's why I want everybody to download or go to and look at Trump's 30-minute speech on Israel. He looked like a beaten man. He was tired. He had no energy. He talked about Israel's sovereignty, but again, what did he talk about? How good I was for Israel, how I did this, how I made Jerusalem the capital, how I got the Golan Heights, how I for 30 fucking minutes, and that was it. Where Vivek came up with a lot of great energy, a lot of you gotta listen. I really want people to listen to all the speeches from the Republican Jewish Coalition today. To listen to Haley, Vivek, even Mike Pence, just everybody that went on stage today. Now, I have not heard the new Speaker Johnson speech because he was on at 8 o'clock tonight, at late dinner, so I've not heard what he has said yet. But I think that whether on the left and right, listen to what they said, and you guys will agree with me. Trump was the keynote speaker today at noon. He's where everybody spent the money for today, and it was an abomination. And my ex-girlfriend, who's extremely Jewish and a very, very, very big Trump supporter, was just as down on the speech as I was. And so, you gotta look through the big picture. It's like I told Tony Cousineau, stop being in the cult and understand that you could take America First policies. You could take the movement that he has, and DeSantis or Vivek or anybody else can move the country forward. The Republicans think they're going to get their old GOP back, the one that's fucking. We don't want that's never coming back. Like the GOP has to be open more on social issues. Has to be, not so hardcore. Like not so hardcore on the abortion issue. Like, do I believe that there should be after 15 weeks, that's 4 months. If you don't know if you're going to have a kid by then you're just committing murder. But I'm for pro-choice but I'm not for pro-choice after 4 months.
Mike, I got a hypothetical for you. I'm going to switch gears real quick.
Go ahead.
But do you remember? Do you and your producer remember the old Art Bell show?
Sure. Yeah.
If anybody came to you on a hypothetical and said, we'd like to syndicate you from 10 o'clock at night to 1 in the morning, 5 days a week, West Coast time, would you be interested?
Yeah, well, me, I something I can't really talk about right now, but me and Phil are working on a deal where we're going to be doing a sports NFL show, a sports talk show.
All right.
And listen, am I the greatest sports bettor in the world? No, I suck. Okay, but if you take one or two picks of mine, every day, and you don't chase, I'm actually pretty smart. I'm pretty educated on sports, and I've always told people, my whole life it'd be like I bet 4 games for like 20,000 a piece, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and I'd be down by 10 at halftime, and then I'd bet another 20,000 on 2 halftime bets. I'd lose them,
right?
And the 2 I bet in the morning would either both come back and win or split. And same thing would happen in the afternoon. And instead of me being dead even or up a unit or whatever, I'm down 4 units. Then I'd bet 4 units on the late game, and the next thing you knew, I'd lose 100,000 for the weekend. I did that for fucking 24 years. You know what I mean? And
wow.
And once I quit, and that was sports tilt. And so like even now, like I bet on my top pick for like a couple grand, and my second for like 1,000. And if I lose it, I lose it. I don't chase it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And even like all the top poker players are like, how do you do it, Mike? How are you able to bet like 2 games a week for like 1,000 or 2,000? Like, how are you not able to? You have to bet 10 or 20,000 to enjoy the game. And it's real interesting. Like I lost 6 point whatever million betting sports. I'm a sicko. I'm a degen. And even like when I do make my bets, like a couple bets, whatever I bet, the guy I bet with is like, well, why don't I just give you an account? And I'm like, no, I can't have an account. If I have an account, I go right back into my sickness. You know what I mean? It's just like
you got a favorite in the World Series?
I bet on Texas, and I don't like what I'm seeing. Be honest with you.
Okay.
And I just said to
Arizona's gritty.
I just felt like, first of all, didn't think they had any chance against the Phillies. Do you know you could have got 20-1 after the first 2 games of the series when Philly was up 2-0? Of course, I think
you could have gotten 500-1 at the beginning of the season.
I had the Phillies. I made my biggest bet since 2016. I bet 8,700 to win 5,000. I had not made a $5,000 bet since 2016, and of course, I lose. You know what I'm saying?
They lost twice.
Yeah, and so I came back and I made the same bet on Texas, and I'm probably going to lose that, and then I'll be back to my 1,000 a game and whatever, but. I just don't see, maybe I'm wrong, It's like they just beat a $250 million payroll in Philadelphia. I mean, now you got a $34 million payroll against another $250 million payroll. Bruce Bochy is the best manager of all time. I thought that he made a massive mistake tonight putting Montgomery out in the 7th. I mean, he got him through 6 innings. He didn't have his good stuff. And I thought he gave the game away today, but the Diamondbacks pitcher was unhittable. So,
that's a young team.
I'll tell you what. Think about all the pieces they gave up. It was only 2017 the Diamondbacks won 100 games with the Dodgers, and then they traded everybody. That was when Robbie Ray was their top pitcher. right? And then they went into complete rebuild mode. And you're talking 2017, you're talking about 6 years later, the team is all 23-year-old. I mean, yeah, they got Longoria, but he's nothing. But like the average age of the team is something like 24 and a half. Their second youngest team in the year, and they're the second smallest payroll in baseball. And they're on the verge of the World Series. I mean, this could be a dynasty if they win this one. I mean, they're so young, this team. It's unbelievable. And what they did.
I tell you what, Mike, they don't make mistakes. Just watch them. No errors, no fundamental problems. They don't. They call off each other.
The 1981 Dodgers won the World Series, won 88 games. They won the least amount of games by any team to ever win the World Series. You have a Diamondback team that lost 7 of the last 9, including the last 4. And if the guy didn't make the error and drop the ball in the outfield, the Cubs would have been in the playoffs. Arizona wouldn't even have been in the playoffs. If you remember,
would they win 84?
84 games, 84 and 78, and they end up losing like 7 of 8 down the stretch. I mean, all the Cubs had to do is win one more, like those 2 games against Atlanta that they led by 3 runs in the 9th inning. If they hold one of them, Arizona's not even in the playoffs.
God almighty.
So it's like you ask yourself, like, is it their year? Is it meant to be? I mean, I really thought the way Texas went into fucking Houston and beat the world champs those last 2 games, that they're just not going to lose. But when I watched those first 2 games, let's be honest, it's a miracle that Texas is tied. They were dead in game. They'd never had a chance today, and in all reality, they really didn't never have a chance in game 1. I mean, I don't understand how they even pitched to fucking Seager. I don't even get it. And then how do you pitch to Garcia? I mean, these guys are just killing the ball. But, you know, that 3-headed monster bullpen of what's it, Giblet and Sewald, and I mean, these guys have been up until game 1. They don't give up shit. I mean, they don't give up shit. I don't know, but you know, it really depends. Max Scherzer in game 3. If Max can be the Max Scherzer that we've watched every year, and he could come, like he struggled the last 2 outings, you know, but he, you know, coming off the DL, of course he's going to struggle a little bit. I expect Scherzer to throw a good game in game 3. And
that's on the road, right? That's
correct. And now Arizona's gonna be pitching Parafat. I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Parafat. Like, this guy had been nothing until the last 2 games, and he's just pitched the 2 best games of his life the last 2 games. So, you know, if Arizona wins game 3, I think they win the series. I really do. If Texas wins games 3, Texas, I think they have better pitching to win game 4. And I think they could go home up 3-2. You know, I really do. But I really think it depends on game 3.
Rangers got one thing left going for them. They can win games on the road,
and they can hit. They could hit for power. But look how Arizona is winning. People are not even talking about it. What is Arizona doing? They are getting walks. They are stealing bases. They are bunting people over, and they are getting RBIs. Okay? See, baseball has gone, since 2015, they've gone to launch angle and home runs, and like, it was only 2015 when the Kansas City Royals made back-to-back World Series, and how did they do it? They won it on stealing bases and bunting people over and walks, right? Well, in the playoffs, the games, you've got to narrow the games. You've got to shorten the games. That means you've got to get runs. You can't just sit there and wait for the 2-run homer like you do in the regular season. And Arizona's, 18 for 18 on stolen bases? Like 18 for 18. I think they tied at 17 for 17. They tied the record for most stolen bases in a postseason. And one more, they're going to break it. And they're just...
And the Rangers do 0 pitch outs, by the way.
Zero. Now, Philadelphia, in the one game they lost, like, they had the pitch out, and the guy still stole the base. Carroll. And then they got and that was the game they won 3-1. They got and they got the base hit to get him in. I mean, I just don't even. I mean, the fact that they're just running wild on him is unbelievable. Like they get a walk or they get a base hit, it's a double. Like they're sitting on second base, every one of them. You shorten the game up, Like every single time they've had a leadoff man on Arizona, they're bunting him over or they're stealing. And that's why they're winning. They're winning on small ball. They're winning on money ball. They're not winning.
Great talking to you, Mike.
You too. Take care, man. Thanks for calling.
We do have one more if you want to take it.
Mm-hmm. They really are winning on money ball, guys. It's pretty amazing.
Oh shit! Actually, I think there's two more.
Yeah. The Trump indictments are all bullshit, but doesn't matter. What's up?
Hello.
Welcome to Mouthpiece. What's up, buddy?
Hey, aloha, brother Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
Aloha, brother man. It's brother Wayne Leslie again here in Hawaii. Brother, just want to call, say hello again.
Yes.
Well, talk a couple things to you about, man, what this, there's things going on in Israel and Palestine. It's really sad right now.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Dying, but it's hard to not think about, right now as we speak, people are being destroyed, lives are being destroyed.
Yeah.
As we speak right now, people are dying, children and elderly and innocents are dying. So much tragedy happening right now in our world, and
it's horrible.
Right now, it's raise up some love, from the universe to everybody out there who's hurting.
It's absolutely. I agree. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Pray we can and some really strong leadership in this time. I was really, the other day, I forget what the meeting was about, but King Abdullah of Jordan.
I saw it.
A speech.
I saw the interview. Yeah.
I thought that was a great speech. Talking about the solutions for the Middle East cannot be a military one. You know what I mean? Because it's a vicious cycle. Because now they're trying to
I agree. I think a military one is wrong, but you can't have a group.
No.
You can't have a government group that is calling for the annihilation of the state of Israel. That's the bottom line.
No.
That's
Absolutely. No,
you can't have peace when your only objective is to wipe Israel off the map. And so it's like I said, if Israel put down their weapons tomorrow, if they put down their weapons tomorrow, there'd be peace. If Israel's put down their weapons tomorrow, there'd be no Israel. And so
I forget who it was, but somebody had came up with this. If Israel was to open up its border and let the Palestinian
500,000 people do come across from Gaza and work in Israel every day. So but
yes, it's how do you to man, it's such a tough fucking situation, bro.
Well,
and how long does a bombing have to go before it stops?
Well, it's what they. I mean, I don't know if they Netanyahu put out. You can go to Netanyahu on Twitter, and he put out in English too. He showed the entire video and the entire complex, like their entire complex, their headquarters, their offices are under a fucking civilian hospital. Think about that.
Right.
How sick do you have to be? How sick do you have to be?
Evil.
That's so
it's
evil.
Yes, but and then there's also the argument that Hamas isn't only in Pakistan. There's Hamas all over the globe. So even if you kill them all in Gaza, that wouldn't eradicate Hamas.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I mean, that's the scary part. Is like, and this is what I brought up earlier in the show. It's like I can't get over the hate. The fucking for Jewish people. I mean, this was 75 years ago. We said never again. And now we're 75 years later and there's millions of people marching in the streets. They're not saying like destroy Israel or they're saying kill the Jews. I mean, that's what they're saying. And there's only 9 million of us in the world. I mean,
and in the political discourse, it's so vicious that it's hate is becoming normalized.
Yeah, but the thing is, and again, this is going to be very, 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 very bad for the Democrats come 2024. Is all the real hate is really coming from the left. Like, is there the far right? Is there some Israeli hate? Yes, but the left is like, I mean, the black they're gonna, we talk about like what's gonna happen during the elections and stuff. Like, they're gonna run like the Black Lives Matter, posting the paraglider saying we stand with Hamas. Like I've been told everybody on the show for the Black Lives Matter is all fake. It's a fucking Marxist movement of the far left Antifa thugs. And who are the people that are doing it? It's the Antifa thugs, the far left, and like what you saw in London today was the infiltration of all the Muslim people that have been allowed to basically come to immigrate to London. And that was a very scary thing that I saw in London today. And if you follow Liv Bourret, right? And Liv Bourret was in 2016, she was far left. Yeah. She was far left. Okay. Matter of fact, we used to be really good friends. And then when I was a Trump supporter in 2016, she did not like me. I mean, you could the way she would just jump and run in my hands and give me a hug and a kiss whenever I saw her, and I could feel it, right? And now, fast forward 2024, and she is probably like Elon Musk. She's probably like 3 degrees to the right now, right? Because she's been educated, she sees what's going on, and she put out a video from 2021, and she put it out. She showed it today. She reposted it, and there was Palestinian driving down the street of London saying, kill all the Jews, rape their mothers, rape their daughters, right? This is downtown in London 2 years ago, right? And she had posted, and so she posted it 2 years ago, and then she posted it today. And she's like, I warned you guys 2 years ago what I witnessed, but even I could not have imagined what I witnessed in London today. And these people are not, they're literally protesting for the death of all Jews. It's pure. I've never seen hate like this. And people follow me on Twitter. Like I've been reliking and reposting a lot of stuff that's anti-Jewish because I want people to see the hate. Like just nobody believed what Hamas did, and then the Israelis had to show all. They literally have been graphically releasing all of what they did to the media.
Right.
And think about it, like there's like some really graphic stuff on Twitter and Facebook that they didn't want to be graphic, but when people start saying that Israel's lying, that this never happened, it's just like the Holocaust deniers, they're like, oh, that never happened. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we can't, in a world that only has 9 million Jews in the whole world, you can't have people calling for the extermination of Jewish people. I mean, it's insane. I can't, at 55 years old, I can't believe as a Jew what I'm witnessing. Right. Like honestly, like there's people that are taking their mezuzahs off their homes because there was like one place, I think it was in London or something yesterday, where they came in and attacked an elderly couple and broke in because they were Jewish. It's like, this is really, really, really ugly. And, it's
one final word, we could talk about something else, but let's universally ask and pray for some peace and love amongst, these different factions, you know what I mean? And hope that, somehow the spirit of love and aloha can touch all the people that it needs to touch, man.
Yeah.
You know. So the next time I want to talk to you about was this Colorado case about Trump being tossed off the ballot. So that's moving forward.
That's not going to happen. Trump's never going to get not tossed off any ballot. So that's...
You know what's interesting though? One of the arguments they're making is that in that ordinance about that article, I forget which one it was, Article 4 or something like that, about giving comfort to insurrectionists.
Yeah.
And the argument they're using is Trump promised them that he would basically pop them out of jail if he got president.
Well, every single person that's running on the right said they will pardon all nonviolent January 6th.
Right.
And they should.
Right.
Because in all reality, except for like maybe 30 people, probably tops 30 people, all the rest of them that are should have just got trespassing, I mean, look what Rashid Tlaib did last week. She started a protest outside the Capitol and then walked 300 of them into the Capitol. And they were 150 of them were arrested. But I guarantee you they're not going to do 22 years in jail for insurrection. Okay, so you have to understand what political discourse is. And the reason why so many people hate Trump on the right now, mainstream people, and like people like me too, is Trump didn't cause no insurrection, okay? But if Trump narcissism didn't call for a rally, a political rally in Washington, January 6th never happens, okay?
Yeah.
But I was on Twitter, and I was following what was being said by the people I was following on the right. They were like, storm, we're going to storm the Capitol, right? So everybody knew that there was going to be 1 million people at this rally. And me and my friend Ashley, who's on the left, and a lot of other people were very worried. And then Trump comes out the day before, on January 5th, and he says, well, I have summoned 20,000 National Guard to the Capitol, okay? So once Trump said there was going to be 20,000 National Guard, I'm like, okay, everything's going to be okay. Okay? Now, once again, if you have to understand what happened. The left knew all these people were coming. It was all over social media. Everybody knew there was 1 million people coming on Washington. Okay? Nancy Pelosi refused to put the National Guard out because she felt it would look bad on Washington. And she was the one who had the last order as Speaker of the House to deploy the National Guard that Trump had asked for. And so January 6th was a setup job to politically hurt the right. But
what do you think is going to happen with Mark Meadows now that they got him to flip?
That's all bullshit. Don't listen to any of that bullshit. Flip this, flip that. They got nothing on Trump, okay? It's all propaganda. Trust me.
Didn't he have a plea deal? Don't they have a
but they're pleading out because they don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. They don't have money for the lawyers. You know what I'm saying? This is what they do.
Immunity.
This is what they do. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing. What are they going to flip out on? Okay, when they talk about election deniers, like Hakeem Jeffries. Go look it up. There's videos of him calling Trump an illegitimate president that stole the election, that he didn't actually win. The Democrats said every one of the Democrats said the exact same thing from 2016, 2017. For 3 years, Russia was the election was stolen. Okay, so it's funny that they want to say election denier. It's all political fucking bullshit, Yeah. It's just like one side can say it, but the other side can't. And then they control the media. But see, that's the reason why they hate Elon Musk so much, because now they can't control the media because they can't suppress what's being said on X. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where before they were allowed to suppress it. So it's going to be interesting. I really do not want, I really like RFK, and I probably will go down and pull my vote and probably vote for him. And people will say, oh, it's a wasted vote, right? But the truth of the matter is whoever side RFK takes, like let's just say he gets 16% of the Democrat votes. If he gets whoever, if 16% Republicans vote for him, or whoever gets the most votes of RFK gets is going to decide the election. Okay. And so, like RFK had a guy climb his wall in the house 2 days ago. They arrested him. They let him out of jail. He came back and tried to do it again. They won't give him Secret Service, and it's very scary, And a lot of people don't agree with what RFK says. I think that he's a center of the road Democrat, and the truth of the matter is the way he thinks is kind of the way my worldview is. I am very liberal on a lot of things. I am, but I agree. We need a border. We need to secure the border. We need to get the fucking, like, I didn't know that JFK and his dad Robert talked exactly like Trump about the deep state and the deep state controlling everything. And so enough, the deep state took out JFK and they took out his dad. And I didn't know that the message that he's sending, because they asked why do Republicans like RFK so much? Well, he's basically spreading the same message as Trump. Is the deep state is out to get everybody. They control everybody. We need to give the vote back to the people, right? And so that's kind of why he has an appeal to the Republicans, and whoever, like I said, whoever he gets most, whatever vote he garners the most of is going to probably decide the election. I'm telling you guys, I'm going to lose 40K if it happens, and I'm telling you guys right now, Biden is not running in 2020. There's no way he's running. I just don't believe it. You got to watch what's going on. They are fucking spreading Gavin Newsom. They sent him to Israel. He's a governor of California. Why'd he go to Israel? They sent him to China to visit Xi Jinping yesterday. Why? Okay? You have to watch what's going on.
Newsom and DeSantis was to do a debate?
Yeah, and now they're having a debate on Fox News because the fucking the establishment wants DeSantis and they want Gavin Newsom. They want those two running.
That's what they want, huh?
That's what they want. Yes.
And
they're gonna and I think they're gonna have it. I mean, if they take Trump out, they're gonna have it. But I'm 100% sure Gavin Newsom will be the Democrat nominee. I'll be if Biden is the nominee, I'm gonna lose 40K, and I just won't believe it. I don't believe it's possible. I don't believe it's possible. Yeah, but we'll see.
Last thing I want to ask you about is so you and Doug Polk not going to do?
Yes, we are. We're going to do it in November. It might be a little bit after, but yes, we are going to do it.
Yes, brother Mike. You're going to do good, bro.
No,
and it's going to be legendary, bro. And that's going to be the one. And after that, then you can work on getting your program and your teaching people how to do, on your angle and stuff like that, bro.
Yeah.
That's good news, man.
We'll
We're
see.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be it'll be fun.
Looking forward to that. Good luck to you on that. Once again, peace and love for the big island of Hawaii.
I appreciate it, my man. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the NFL football tomorrow if you watch it. Aloha. Take care. Peace. Yeah. So, anyways, I try not to talk too much politics, but today was a big day in Republican politics because, we had the Republican Jewish Coalition, and it was very important.
Hello.
Yo, welcome to Mouthpiece. What's up, my man?
What's up, Mikey? This is Rob.
What's up, Rob?
How's it going, buddy?
What are you doing?
Not much. I was just placing some football bets. I was about to lock up my teaser, and then your show came on. I'm like, I got to call Mike, find out if I should make my teaser or not.
Who you like?
I like your. So I have a 4-team teaser.
Okay.
I got the Eagles money line.
Okay.
Dolphins -2.
Okay.
The Jets +4 and the Lions -1.
Okay. So you're kind of going with a lot of chalk down. Now, I am very worried about the Eagle game. The Eagles if you watched, the Bills got up from Miami, they crushed them. Then they went to play Jacksonville and laid a complete egg. Okay, the Eagles took a bad loss to the Jets. I knew they were going to be up for the Dolphins game. They were my pick of the week last week, and they crushed them. Okay, now they got to go on the road in a division game against a team that just laid a fucking egg to the Giants last week. And if you watch the first Washington game, Washington tied the game on the last second of the game, and Riverboat Ron didn't go for two when you're supposed to go for two on the road, and they would have 50-50 to beat them if he would have went for two. I think it's going to be a very close game. Do I think the Eagles will win? I do, but I wouldn't be shocked if they lost. The Detroit game, I think Detroit will bounce back. I don't know if they'll cover the spread. I think people are really overvaluing how bad the Raiders looked last week. Okay, but I mean the Lions looked just as bad. They got beat 38-6. I do like the Jets +4 a lot. I like the Jets coming off a bye. I think they're really good. I think they have a great defense, and if
best defense in the league.
I think if Wilson is able to just not make mistakes, that the Jets have a good shot to make the playoffs, and who knows if Rodgers comes back, and I mean that they definitely have a top 3 defense in the league. I mean, they're awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, they had Kansas City beat. I mean, let's just be honest with you. The fucking guy fumbled. I mean, they were going to score. They went and they fucking beat the Eagles, and well, the Eagles beat themselves, but yeah, you know,
Jets had one of the toughest schedules
toughest schedule. Like even with Rodgers, people were saying, "Wow, the Jets are going to be lucky to be 2-4 after 6 weeks," right? Even with Rodgers, and somehow they're 3-3, and if they don't give away that game to Kansas City, they'd be 4-2. So, you know, they played the toughest schedule. The schedule now eases up a little bit. They're coming off a bye. A lot of people like the Giants this week. I don't. I really like the Jets. I was debating about putting them in my circa, and the only reason why I went with the Browns instead of the Jets is this line went from 2.5 to 3.5, and I believe the Browns have the best defense in the league. I think the Jets are second.
Okay.
And last week the Browns got 8 up on the ground, and I believe that they will bounce back and have a very good defensive effort against Seattle. Now, I think Seattle's a top team. I have them over 9 wins for the year. So I really kind of need them to win. But I think 3.5 is a lot on the game. I think that this is probably going to be a field goal game. So I took the 3.5 there, but I was debating between laying the 3 on the road or taking the 3.5 on the road. And I ended up taking the 3.5 in my circuit contest. But like I said, I got 2 bets this week. I'm making a $2,000 bet on the Denver Broncos +7.5. And
nice. That's my upset of the week. I have the Broncos as well.
And I'm taking 4 with Cincinnati. I think that the San Francisco is really beat up. People don't realize how big a loss Deebo Samuel is. Even if Purdy plays, he's not 100%. He hasn't looked good the last 2 weeks. I mean, this is the Bengals season. Okay, they're 3-3, and and they in their 3 losses they've looked terrible. In the last win they had, when they beat Arizona, that was they beat up a bad team, and then they won the next week, I think it was, in a game they shouldn't even have won against Seattle. Like they shouldn't even have been. Seattle dominated them, and somehow they won. They had the 1 interception against Baltimore. They're really the only team that really played with Baltimore. Baltimore looks like the best team in the NFL, I'll be honest with you. They should be 6-0. And so I think the week off, I think Burrow healthy. I think they're going to be able to score, and I really think the Bengals are going to win this game, and the Niners are going to lose their third straight game. And
can I ask you why did the line move to Bengals plus? I see it +5 now.
Yeah, well, that's because Purdy was doubtful to play and looked like Sam Darnold was going to play, and now Purdy's going to be playing.
Purdy's back in. I don't think there's much of a difference between both those two quarterbacks. I think.
I totally disagree. I mean, people don't understand how good Purdy is. People are like, the lineup's so good. It's a system. Dude, he makes great throws, okay? Purdy is... this guy is not getting the respect he deserves. Sam Darnold's a pile of shit. Fucking Purdy's a top fucking 5 quarterback in the NFL. I mean, listen, they lost the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Purdy brought him right down the field, and the guy mixes a 40-yard field goal. Purdy played a good game. Did he miss 1 or 2 throws? Yes. Okay. Last week against Minnesota, he made he threw 2 picks, but that's not why they lost. They lost because Kirk Cousins played the best game of his career. He was unbelievable.
He was, yeah.
And the last fucking interception, they were 34 seconds to go. It wasn't a good throw. But do you really think with no timeouts that Purdy was going to get him 60 yards? I don't think so. He had to take a shot. He had to gamble and throw it deep downfield. So I don't even count that throw. You know what I mean? So, but no Debo.
If he was concussed, there was a concussion throw. So who knows?
Yeah, the line went back to 5 because fucking Purdy's playing. That's all. And
also, I have another question. I made 2 future bets before the season started, and I don't know if they're both dead in the water. Or you think I have a chance on both?
I made 7. I got off of 2 this week. I literally got off of them. I took the juice loss. Go ahead.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
I'll tell you which
if I should do the same. So I have Bengals to win the division.
Okay, drawing dead. Next.
Drawing dead.
Yeah.
And I have the Jets over 9.5 wins.
Dead. Drawing dead. What is there? But they're live. What's the Jets live now? 8.5.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And so I had Washington over 6.5, and I started off 2-0, and I looked great. Losing the way scoring 7 points against the Giants last week and losing. I looked at their schedule, and I see the Giants are 3-4, and I can't find 4 wins. I cannot find 4 wins. The only one, actually, I was only able to find like 3 at the most, and
for who?
For Washington, and one of and one of the wins I kind of found possibly was this tomorrow against the Eagles, because that was a very, very physical game, and this is you win a game like that, and now you have to go on a road on a division opponent coming off a tough loss, a team that beat the shit out of you by 20 last year, and then went on the road this year and just was a 2-point conversion away from winning again. I mean, do I think the Eagles will be ready? Yeah, but it wouldn't shock me at all if Washington wins tomorrow. But I got off my bet because I laid $1.10 over 6.5, and I laid $1.10 under 6.5. Now, the other one that I got off of is I laid $1.20 on the over, and I laid $1.40 on the under, both 7.5, and that's the Tennessee Titans. I got off this game because the Tannehill's out. They're talking about trading Henry. They're talking about trading Hopkins. Now, I knew. Remember, if you listen to my show, when I made the bet on the Titans over, I said I had to be 3-3 after 6 weeks, and I was home free because I knew now they're going to try and win the division. But now they lost Tannehill. They lost that fucking game to Indy, which was brutal. And then the last game they lost, whoever it was for, to drop them to 2-4 last week. I think it was Indy, whatever. And now there's no Tannehill. Well, that was 2 weeks ago because they got gashed on the ground. And so I first of all, I think Ritter is terrible. The fact that you're getting 3, I'm taking. I think I might even take Tennessee tomorrow in my pick'em. Like, I've been back and forth on this. Like, how can you possibly lay 3 on the road with Ritter? Like, granted, the quarterback for Titans is Levi from Kentucky, It's his first start as a rookie. You know, their best run stopper is back on defense. That he's been missing the last 2 weeks. And what does Atlanta do? They run the ball. And Ritter sucks. So I think that's a very low scoring game. I think it's going to be 17-16, one of the two teams. But I got off my Titans. I got off my Titans. When I start hearing them, you know, they're down 2 games plus a tiebreaker. If it looks like that they can't win a division, you know, they might just tank for a fucking quarter. You know, there's going to be a lot of people tanking for the USC quarterback or the North Carolina quarterback. But I'm not so sure the USC quarterback's any good. I mean, did you see his record against top 25 teams in the rest of the league? Against top 25 teams, he's like 5-5 with like 54% completion, and against non-top 25 teams, he's really good. How did he do today against California? Did they win or lose? USC.
I have no idea.
Anybody know?
Really follow college.
Anybody in chat know how he did against USC? How USC did today? How the quarterback did? Because I fell asleep and woke up, so I was just wondering, because he was absolutely horrible the last 2 weeks. And, you know, once he came out and said that whatever team drafts me, he wants a percentage of he wants a piece of the team. Can you imagine that? They won 50-49. I can't even imagine. Wow. How much was he great today? I mean, can you imagine that the USC coach couldn't even improve the defense this year of how bad it was last year? Wow. 2 touchdowns, 61 QBR. That's not very good. Wow. So California must have got a lot of their points off his turnovers. Did he have turnovers? I'm telling you, man, I'm not convinced he's even going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. 23 of 40, 369. How many turnovers? He had to have a few with only a 61 QBR. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's going to be interesting who they tank for. So I got off of my 2. No interceptions. Wow. So I got off my 2. I just don't know how Tennessee's going to win 6 more games with no Tannehill. And if they lose this game, they're trading Henry and they're trading Hopkins, and they're just going to, you know, tank, you know, which I kind of, 2 fumbles. Okay. I had a feeling that they were going to tank. I knew I had to be healthy, and I knew I had to be 3-3 after 6 weeks. I even thought 2-4 after 6 weeks, and healthy, I had a great shot at winning 8 games, but with no quarterback, and I got off of it. So I'm gonna lose 2,000 or 1,000 on that one. Lose 500 on Washington, and the rest of them I kind of like where I sit. You know, I have under 11.5 in Cincinnati. I got over 9 in Seattle. I know. I'm going to lose my Bears over 7.5. They're 2-5. The sick part is they don't give away that game to Denver. They'd be 3-4, and I really would have a good shot because they have a really weak schedule. But losing Fields, I just don't think they can win without Fields. That's an interesting game this week against the Chargers. Like, how could you lay 8.5 with the Chargers? The coach is terrible, and they don't beat anybody by more than 3. And this Division II quarterback kicked the shit out of the Raiders last week. He played good, you know. Like, and let's be honest, the Bears' defense the last 4 weeks has been great. I mean, they only lost by 6 to Minnesota. They had a shot to win that game without Fields. So you know, should be. I think 8.5 is too many points there. I think I wouldn't lay. Who would lay 8.5 with the Chargers? I mean, are the Chargers even good? They're 2-4. They could be easily 0-6, right?
So many one-score games.
Or they could be 5-1. But Herbert's got a broken finger, and it's obvious the way you could see he's missing throws. Like, he missed so many throws 2 games in a row. Like, I wouldn't lay 8.5 with a guy with I'd be shocked. I like a lot of dogs this week. I think this is the week that a lot of dogs are going to win outright. I really do. I think Denver's going to win outright against Kansas City. They got the Dolphins on deck in Germany. You got to remember, Kansas City just locked up the division last week by beating the Chargers. They now got a 3-game lead and the tiebreaker over everybody. So basically they got a 4-game lead in week 7. They now play Denver in Mile High, laying 7.5, and they have to go to Germany next week to play who everybody thinks is so great, the Dolphins, who I think is not very good. And I just think this is a look ahead game. I really do. Germany they're going to be rock stars out there. It's going to be and Taylor Swift's not going to be at the game. She already announced that yesterday. People in my chat were asking if Taylor was going to be in the game, but she announced today that she will not be at the game. I don't know, man. I might be wrong, but I'll tell you what. Denver's playing better. Their defense is fixed. They fixed their defense, which, if everybody remembers, the first 8 games last year, they had the number 1 defense in the NFL, and they ran out of gas because they couldn't score. And they brought back the same people, which made no sense why their defense was so bad the first 4 weeks. Obviously, the new coaching had something to do with it because their defense is fixed. Like the last 3 weeks, their defense has been great. So, I think 7.5 is too much. I think it's a look-ahead game, and we'll see. That's my pick of the week.
Yeah, well, my upset of the week, I made a single bet on the Broncos to win.
Yeah,
and
I like it.
Right, and my pick of the week is the Jets -3.
I like it too, man. I kind of lean with you, buddy.
So you're saying I should cash out on my bet of the Jets over 9.5 wins? If they win this week, they'll be 4-3.
I don't see how they can win 10 games without Rodgers. But do I think? I mean, maybe they can. I mean, they've gone through the tough end of their schedule at 3-3. I think watching tomorrow how Wilson plays is going to let you know. We know the defense is going to give up like 14, right? I mean, the Giants have scored 13 and 14 the last 2 weeks, and they should have beat Buffalo 2 weeks ago. I mean, that was a joke they didn't win. I mean, that was ridiculous that they didn't win, and the referees took it from them too. Like they held Waller on that. They were holding him. It was ridiculous. So you're coming off a bye week. If Wilson's able to put up 20 points tomorrow, they're going to win, and they're going to cover. And he looks like he's getting better, and so we'll see. I think tomorrow's game is everything for the Jets. I really do. I think they got to win, and they got to look good in winning coming off the bye. And if they do, can the Jets win 10 games without Rodgers? That's a big ask, 10-7, but
I think Rodgers is coming back this season.
Well, I do too, because he did do this Achilles surgery that's never been tried before, and most people are in a walking boot for 3 months. He was in a boot for 3 weeks, and I mean it's a long way back, but if they make the playoffs, I think he will be back. You know what I mean? And but even if he is back, like you miss all year, you just don't step on the field and you could just be in rhythm. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Listen, what happened to Rodgers on the 4th play of the year was heartbreaking. I mean, to the whole. Yeah. If you have any kind of empathy, like my heart went out for him, and it's kind of made me a Jets fan. Like I really am kind of pulling for them this year.
Same here. Yeah.
Same here. But. We'll see what happens. The key games tomorrow it's going to be interesting to see if Cincinnati, coming off of a bye, can go in. Frisco's won like 14 in a row at home, and they've lost 2 games in a row. They were outplayed against the Vikings. The Vikings took it to them, but they had no Debo. That was a big loss. McCaffrey played well, but let's put it this way. I mean, Kirk Cousins took it to him. The week before, I mean, Purdy brought him right down the field. The guy missed a 40-yard field goal. So, maybe Frisco just had one bad game. Cincinnati hadn't shown me anything. I mean, I'm taking them this week because I believe their season is over if they don't win, because they play the Bills next week at home. And the Bills, even though they played two bad games. I thought they played really good against Tampa. The final score was completely indicative of how they dominated the game. So it's a big game for fucking Cincinnati coming off a bye. Big game.
I know it is, yeah. And last question before I go: if you had to pick a Super Bowl prediction from the NFC and the AFC, if you had to pick two teams who are going to meet in the Super Bowl, I think it will be Eagles against KC again.
I am going to go Eagles and Baltimore.
Wow.
I think Baltimore is, I think what you saw last week against Detroit is a culmination of the Ravens offense coming together. They already have a top 5, top 6 defense. Let's be honest. Kansas City is 6-1. They could easily be 3-3 or 2-4. Easily. They don't. I mean, they got McCole Hardman back from the Jets. Okay, and what is Hardman going to be what he was last year? They have no receivers. I mean, their receiving core looks awful, but their defense is great. So, and Pacheco can run the ball. And in the NFL, all you have to do is stop the run and run the ball, and that's how you win Super Bowls. So it's going to be Kansas City or Baltimore, and I do believe it's going to be the Eagles. Granted, Hurts has not looked as good this year, but look at the offensive line. They are dominating on the ground. They are running 14-play drive touchdowns, 13-play drive. They are gashing. They can't stop them on the ground. And when you run the ball, stop the run. That's how you win Super Bowls. And I do think you got a good chance of a repeat. Kurt just said he thinks it's going to be Eagles and Bills. I have the Bills to win the Super Bowl for 5,000 at 8-1. I think that went out the window when I lost Milano and I lost Ja'Jarius White, because now I lost my best pass rusher and I lost my best cornerback. Now, if the Bills are going to challenge for the Super Bowl at the trade deadline, they are going to have to make some trades, and they're going to have to give up some first-round picks. Would it shock me if the Bills gave up 2 first-round picks and a second-rounder for Aaron Donald from the Rams after the Rams lose this week and they're pretty much out of it? Not at all. And that's kind of what the move the Bills would have to make to have a shot to go to the Super Bowl, because losing Milano really, really hurts them. And same with Ja'Jarius White.
Who do you think would be teams that would go for Henry?
A lot of teams will go for Henry. See, Hopkins, and if the Titans lose this week, which I don't think they will. I don't think much of Atlanta, but you do have a rookie quarterback in his first starts, and rookie quarterbacks in their first starts don't win. That's a good question. I know. I mean, I'd like to see the Bills, because what's wrong with the Bills? They don't run the ball. Okay, they throw the ball. They ran, like when they had their loss, or the game against the Giants 2 weeks ago. They ran the ball 7 times and threw it 45. It's like even last game they were running the ball. They ran the ball good, and then when did their drives come up short? When Allen went back to pass, and they would stall at the 40-yard line, and the coach was an idiot. Okay, the coach for the Bills is fucking top 5 worst coaches in the NFL. He's an idiot. And he doesn't run the ball enough, and I don't think he has a clue what he's doing. And I think if they had a good coach, they'd win. But we'll see. The Chiefs don't need Henry. They got Pacheco, man. Pacheco's unbelievable, dude. He's fucking putting up 100 every game.
Oh yeah, he's been great.
The team that really would need Henry would probably that's trying to win a Super Bowl would be the Bills. I don't see where else he would go. Who else is going to give up a lot for Derrick Henry? That has Super Bowl aspirations, right? Frisco's already got their running game. The Eagles have their running game. Detroit has their running game. Baltimore has their running game. I mean, they did lose Dobb. They did lose Dobb to start the year. Their starting running back. mean, is it possible Baltimore would trade for him? I mean, maybe, but it would probably be Baltimore. The Bills would trade for him, and Hopkins. I mean, I think the Chiefs would be the team that would trade for him. You know,
that would be a great fit. The Chiefs need a guy like that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas has Pollard, but I mean, Pollard has not looked coming off the ACL. He doesn't look anywhere close to where he was last year. So yeah, maybe Dallas. I don't think Dallas would go with Henry. They just gave Pollard a lot of money. I'm not so sure, but we'll see. All right, my man. Have a good weekend. Well, good luck on your picks.
You too, man. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks
Talk
for calling.
to you next week.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
All right, man. Good show, man. I think we went about 3 hours.
You got one more if you want to take it.
We're all right. Listen, let's see if we could go 7-1 on our pick of the weeks. I got 7.5 with Denver tomorrow. Pretty confident in this pick. I don't see how Kansas City's up for this game, and everybody, God bless everybody in the war in Israel, and it's really bad. But remember, hate around the world and people calling for death of Jews and people not even able to go to their classroom, kids, because they're getting attacked on campus is very sick. I mean, I can't even believe the world we're living in. But, yeah. So 6-1 on our pick of the weeks. Hopefully 7-1. Denver Broncos plus 7.5. I'm taking Cincinnati for 1K plus 5. Probably a sucker bet, but I bet 2K on Denver. Those are the only 2 games I bet tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for listening, you guys. I'll see you next week on the Mouthpiece. God bless. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys later.
The Mouthpiece.